Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. I was making sure that my words and it was off a little bit there, but I think we got that thing together. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. This is what we call Black Conversations. This is what we call Black Conversations. We talk about everything that is black situations, black business, black conversation, black commitment, black whatever. I see you, Captain Leonard. I see you coming through, but it's not letting you come all the way in, brother. I'm waiting on you to come all the way in here. We need you all the way in here, brother. So Captain Leonard, he's actually on his way, and we are. Let me see. He said something to me. Let me see. Having issues with the app. Okay. Go out and come right back in, brother. Go out and come right back in. I don't know what's going on with it this morning, but hopefully everything's gonna work out fine. Everything's gonna work out fine. But Black Conversations, and we want you to be here with us. We're looking for you to be here with us. The phone lines are open, absolutely. 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. The phone lines are open, and we're gonna pop this thing off. We're gonna talk about everything that's going on. Now, I saw something that happened the other day, and I'm gonna have to step away for a minute, and make my coffee. As soon as Captain Leonard get here, I'm gonna let him take over for me for a few minutes while I get my coffee. I need my morning coffee this morning. My morning coffee. I can't, I gotta wake myself up this morning. Gotta shake myself up and get my coffee. Lord, I need my coffee. Lord, I need my coffee this morning. Yes, I do. But yeah, we're gonna talk about everything that's black. But what I was talking about, I saw a situation that happened just the other day, where a fellow was on his way. I think he was going to Arizona, Arkansas, wherever it was that he was going, and he came here through Atlanta. And in coming through Atlanta, he was a felon, going to court for murder, and he escaped. And he was running up and down the road there here in Atlanta. Went through the woods. It was transporting him to the plane, and they had the shackles on him, and they took the leg shackles off of him because of the fact that they wanted to let him come down the ramp or whatever. So they took the shackles off of him for him to go walk down the rampway and get on and get, I guess, off the plane or whatever he was trying to do. And he escaped, ran off into the woods. And they had a manhunt. They had on the news this morning. They finally caught him. They finally caught the fella. He running around in the woods, and the news broadcast actually saw him and said, "Ain't that him right now?" And true indeed, that was him. The dude had escaped, ran away, got away, and now he was running around. I wonder if he getting the shopping done. While he was running around the streets here in Atlanta. I just wonder. Go figure, right? Go figure. But that's just one of the things that's happening. It's a crazy world. And that's one of the things, and I said that story just to let you know that that's one of the things that we talk about on Black Conversations. Whatever's going on, we're going to talk about a little bit of everything. We're going to open up the doors for the conversations. Open up what is going on in your community, in and around your community. Is there something going on in your community? Is there any weird news going on in your community? Do you need any advice on something? You got some in your personal life, something may go on and you need somebody to give you some advice. And I'm gonna tell you something. We'll give you some advice. Might not be the advice that you want. Might not be the advice that you're looking for. But we will give you advice. So you can give us a call. Give us a call, 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. Is there something going on and you need somebody to have a conversation with you about it? Give us a call. We'll definitely talk to you. And hey, Leonard, can I get you to come on stream? I'm gonna run and make my coffee real quick.
For some reason, the camera is not connecting with the app.
Okay. I'm gonna step away for a second. Can you take it for a minute?
Sure.
All right.
And also, something's wrong with the phone.
Something on my phone too?
Yeah, you want to try the phone. It hangs up when you call. Could be my line, but you know.
Okay. Let me disconnect it and bring it back up again. Okay. But I'm gonna step away and let Captain Leonard, he's gonna take over this thing for a second. I know he got plenty to talk to y'all about. So y'all just
I don't even know how you know that, Raheem. But anyway,
man, listen. All the stuff that's going on around here, Leonard. Yes, sir. You got plenty to talk about. Man, I could step away and be gone for 3 hours. I come back, you still be talking.
I'm sure.
All this stuff going on. Yeah, because there's plenty going on. I was talking about the guy that escaped. They was transporting him, I think, Arizona somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
and he escaped off the plane. And when he escaped off the plane, they took the shackles off his legs. They let him come down the walkway, and he came down, but he didn't stop when they wanted him to stop. He kept going, and before you know it, he was running through the woods.
Hey, I can't be mad at a dog trying to get off the chain.
Exactly, and so that's exactly what happened. He was trying to make his way, brother. He was trying to make his way. That brother said, I got a date, a very important date. Can't be late. No. I got to go. If y'all can't keep up, it's just on y'all. But yeah, man, that's one situation. They caught him. They had on the news. They caught him this morning. But yeah, I think he was on trial for murder. Yeah, and so that's one of the things. I'm trying to get this thing right here before I get out of here. Make sure my phones are working. Let me turn it back on. Making sure that's up. But Captain, yeah, take it for a second. Take it for a second, man. I'll be right back.
Of course, this is the Morning Glow, and you give us a call at 678-381-1973. Which you hear from 7 to 10, Monday through Friday, with my man Raheem. I'm the national spokesperson for New Order National Human Rights Organization. With a lot like your civil rights organization, but we focus on human rights as well. Shout out to our founder, Mr. Gerald Rose, and shout out to all those individuals that are organizing and they in their communities doing something about a situation. Because we definitely know we need soldiers out here. Not just we need soldiers on the front line. We need those providing all type of ancillary of support. So you got to get in where you fit in. That needs to be the theme for 2021. Big shout out to everybody that is actually participating in protesting, because it wasn't always easy to get people out to protest. And now I see people all over the place, all over the world actually protesting. But what we got to do here in our community, specifically, I'm in Georgia. So there are some issues in Georgia that may be different in your state. One of the big issues that we have right now is we have certain bills that are going through that are still trying to suppress African Americans from voting. And it's not just the bills here in Georgia. There are several bills throughout the United States and various legislatures that are seeking to hinder the vote. These people want to hinder that vote because they've realized that if we continue to turn out to the polls, we'll definitely be able to remove key members of the Republican Party. And this is why they're pushing, usually those bills are all proposed by Republicans because they support voter suppression. They support making it harder for everyday citizens to vote. Now, I don't know about people in other states, but our governor is known for this. And it's shame on the people of Georgia for allowing him to become governor after his horrible job as a Secretary of State here. So in Georgia, the Secretary of State, who usually controls the elections and things and what have you, actively participates in voter suppression. These types of things that we see, we should defeat. This should be enough for everyone to turn out for the next elections. Because we see we still have a struggle in Congress. As long as we have a struggle in Congress and we don't always have the numbers to get forth legislation, we know that we got to go at a state level and make sure that we send in representatives and senators that are actually concerned about the plight of Americans, as opposed to the plight of corporations. Corporations are that profit motive, of course, and that's all they think about. Despite what they're doing to people all over the United States, corporations will always try to take advantage whether it be polluting your air, polluting your water, or even we still have some people who don't treat their labor fairly. And that's a big issue. That's why we got places set up like National Labor Relations Board. That's why we always talking about unions or what have you, and the importance, because corporations are not concerned about your welfare.
Mm-hmm.
Their main concern is profit.
Yep, the bottom line.
They pay to change laws. They pay to do whatever it is they want. So when I hear people talking about, why boycott? That's why you have to boycott corporations. They just don't willfully come around. You have to boycott corporations. And that's getting even more and more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just want people to understand it's important. Find something to do, to practice, to get involved in at whatever level you can contribute.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you ain't got no time. Well, donate to an organization.
Yeah.
If you don't have no money, now you got time. Go donate a couple hours. Maybe you have a particular skill or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Folks doing good things need help.
Exactly.
We got to have help to get things done. So let's join various organizations that are actually getting things accomplished. And if ain't no organization where you at doing what it is you think should be done, you start an organization.
Exactly. Now, Captain Leonard, I got to say something to you, man.
What?
Are you looking at the screen?
Wow. You know what? She told me she was going to be here today. Because she didn't have to work. Hey, she was strong.
She was strong. Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning. Boy, look at him. Our sister came back, Leonard.
Yes, indeed. I just remind when I spoke to her, she said she was going to be here on Friday. So that's a good thing.
There you go. Good to have you, sister. Good. Man, look here, we missed you, man. Hold on. What a song that? What a song we look at? We we miss you. We asked you for a song. We miss you. If we ask you for a song, she waking up the old horns together. Waking up the old
and Raheem.
This is the day. This is the day that the Lord has made. That the Lord has made. I will rejoice. I will rejoice and be glad in it. And be glad in it.
Now I remember. Now I can remember. Yeah. Now I can remember why we stopped you from singing.
Oh. Good to see you, Shira.
It is good to see you guys.
I'm having camera issues, Shira. That's why I'm not open.
Oh no, Mr. Leonard.
Hopefully it'll start.
I want to see your fluffy face.
Your fluffy face. Your fluffy face. Yes, almighty. Well, listen, we changed up.
Well,
huh?
I say you glowing everywhere.
Oh, always got to. But
your head glowing, your nose glowing.
Everything like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Well, listen, we done changed up on our Friday. Usually we do Black Friday. Now we do Black Conversations. We still deal with our black businesses and stuff like that. They can still call in. The phone lines are still open. Leonard said there was some issue with the phone earlier, so hopefully that's been rectified. But we do Black Conversations now, and we talk about everything that's Black. If there's things going on in the community, people need advice or whatever, they can call in. Whatever conversation, we have Black Conversations on Friday. So, and I always come up with these weird scenarios and stuff like that. I would come up with some old, I don't know where they come from, but I come up with them. So we're gonna start off. Leonard was just talking about some things that's going on in the community and stuff like that, and how you need to get involved. And everybody can do something. Everybody can do something. Like I said, if you don't have a lot of money to donate or to help in that way, get some of your time. Make a few phone calls. Reach back to people. Make a few phone calls. Everybody got the cell phone. Make a few phone calls. And there's always something that you can do to help out in some kind of way.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. There's always something you can do. But go ahead, Leonard.
No, go ahead. I wasn't gonna say that. I was, that's one of them old man noises when you're trying to stretch.
Oh, that what it is?
Yeah, that's what that was.
Look, I wouldn't know nothing about that. wouldn't know nothing about that. I would not know nothing. But Sheila, what's going on in your community? There's some things going on in your neighborhood and one of the reasons why I wanted to do this because some things had happened in South Carolina, in Columbia, South Carolina, and that situation when the little boy was walking and the man came out there and confronted him and stuff like that and threatened him and all these different things. Now, Columbia, they acted on the spot. They went in and did what they had to do, but a lot of the world didn't know about it. People just didn't know about it. And so I wanted to say, well, we could use this platform right here when situations like that happen. Call in and let everybody know what's going on, so they're abreast as to what's happening in the different communities around the world. And so, is there something going on in your neck of the woods that maybe people need to know about that's not getting any recognition?
One thing I love about my community is we are a community, and our family based. It's small. It's everybody knows everybody type of place. One thing about that place is a lot of times people get stuck in the past and they get stuck with a Ku Klux Klan mentality. They get stuck with where African Americans are beneath and other races are higher. You get blockage on glass ceiling on jobs where you will see in the job a lot of African American faces, but when you look at the top of the chain, you see none. You also see a lot of things that go on with the police station, chief of police, judges and different things like that. We still have those type of issues where if you can be, because it is a small place, if you stand up, you can be blocked, you can be blackballed, you can because it is a small community. So a lot of people here won't stand up. A lot of the older community won't stand up on a lot of things because fearful of not being able to receive medical care properly, fear of not receiving things that they should, with fear of not being able to walk around and function in a community. So it's a lot, to deal with here. But on the same note, we have a lot of organizations here that we do have the NAACP, we do have the Voter Civic League here. And I know a lot of people, we do use Mr. Leonard, the New Order, as a way of getting things done and making our voice heard. My thing is, I would tell people, I'm like on the great debaters. An unjust law is not even a law at all. However, I choose to let you know it's an unjust law. It's up to me whether it is non-violent or whether it's violent. But you just better hope that I choose a non-violent approach, because justice is what we all seek for. We are, we was talking and we was talking about the Blue Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, White Lives Matter. It, to me, it really shows who you are when you start talking like that, because no one ever said that blue lives didn't matter.
Yeah.
No one ever said that they didn't put their lives on the line every day. No one said that their job was easy. But what we're saying is, don't abuse your authority of your power. Don't use that power to make me feel inferior, or as a woman, or feel free to be able to tase and to shoot and kill, or to put your knee in someone's back, or you have the right to do things that you don't have the right to do. And so then when we start saying Black Lives Matter, because all our young men were being killed at the moment, now you want to jump on the bandwagon and say, well, Blue Lives Matter, White Lives Matter. Well, show me where you're being targeted by the police. Show me where, when you stop for a ticket, you have to be concerned, well, now this is going to be your last time speaking to your family. Let me see concerned about your son. If your son got stopped and you haven't taught them properly, let me see your fear if your son would never come back to you same, or arrested on some Trump charges, or some drugs planted in their car, or being a fake warrant, or saying that he was walking in a neighborhood that he should be walking in, or walking in a store with a hoodie, or let me see you and your family and your community be targeted like that and you okay.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And Leonard, there
Yeah.
is a difference in the way that we have to teach, talk to, and educate our children in comparison to other neighborhoods. And I think that's a very unfortunate reality. It is a reality, but in 2021, should we still be in that place?
Well, one, first of all, it depends on if you was what place you were in, because
Mm-hmm.
one, I teach my children a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
So one, what I'm not going to do is even.
Leonard, and I don't mean to cut you off, but let me ask you this. And I know you, but I'm asking this question for the people that's listening, so they may not understand exactly what you're saying right now. I know you, and I know how you are with your family and what you and the love that you have for them, and how you educate them on certain situations that maybe some other parents may not talk to them about. But when you say you educate them a certain way, does that include, or is that limited to tell them if they were to be of age and go out there and be stopped by police? Do you educate them as to some of the things that they should do so that they can make
Yes.
it? Okay, go
And
ahead.
but it's not so much that they make it home. It's just so
Mm-hmm.
much as that they know what to do. I
Mm-hmm.
have two sons. Only one of them is driving and things of that nature. Has been stopped by the police several
Mm-hmm.
times. Just here and there. However, I'm not going to stigmatize him.
Mm-hmm.
Because one, there's a protocol for everything, every interaction with everyone,
Mm-hmm.
and so what else would you do but pull over? Keep your hands where you can see them. You do not speak to the police unless they speak to you.
Yeah.
There's no. What are you going to talk about?
Mm-hmm.
So all this notion where you get to talking about everything else and escalating your situation,
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
He didn't stop to tell you have a nice day. He didn't stop to tell you how great it was to be alive. No, that's not his purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So just how that joker come to you, this is how you have to be on your P's and Q's.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who it is. But there's a certain protocol, like we used to do community events where what to do when stopped by the police. Remember when lots of people were doing that? Lots of
Yeah.
people were putting information out, things that you could put and keep in your car over your visor if
Mm-hmm.
you forget for some reason. But here's what you do every time a police officer stops you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the protocol for that. It's for about police stops. It's not about being black. It's about being stopped by the police.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But she would my question, and I do agree, and that's something that really have to happen in our community. But why doesn't that same thing have to happen in other people's community? I
You
know the
know,
obvious. I know the
you
How
obvious.
did it,
Go ahead, Sheila.
I ask myself that question a lot, not just because, I ask the question like, why is the black community, I'ma just say, um the one who, is I'm looking for a word here, is targeted. So,
Yeah.
in every aspect, I wonder that sometimes. And then the only conclusion I could come to is that we're the biggest threat. Whenever I look at these little reality shows, if I don't know if y'all look at The Circle or not, but when I look at The Circle, one of the people had said something that made me think. The lady said, "You know what? I'm gonna vote him out and I'm gonna target him, not because I dislike him, not because I hate him, but because he could win this. He could win, and he's a threat to me because he can win." So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, but maybe that's some things in life. Maybe that says a lot. Maybe people in general target you because they feel like you're a threat to them because of who you are and the abilities and the talents that you have and show. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
the black community is a threat because we remind them of our kinglyhood or our queenness, because we
Mm-hmm.
remind them of our excellence. We remind them that no matter how you treat us, how much you try to kick us down, no matter how you try to affect us, we still somehow come out on top. We
Mm-hmm.
somehow seem to have a voice. have a spirit, an ancestry. I don't know,
Mhm.
but it's always something there that keep us above. And
Mhm.
it's not me being arrogant to say, but just think about it. I want everybody just to think about this for one moment. You think about the African American plight. We were brought over from Africa into a
Mhm.
land that we did not know the language.
Mhm.
We were beaten,
Mhm.
abused, used as cattle, used as all kind of things. But take these people who have said, you know what? Let's learn this system, use the
Mhm.
system against them, and gain our freedom, not just for ourselves, but for our future.
Mhm.
Let's invent some things to make our lives better.
Mhm.
Let's invent this. Let's invent that. Look at our mind. Look at our science. Look at how we built the pyramids. Look how we did all these different things. Our intelligence and is way more than that of the Caucasians. Look where they came from, the cave of Tarsus. You know, they
Mhm.
came from caves. So you got to look at that. You got to have. I mean, that's true history. I'm not speaking things that are not real or not true
Mhm. Mhm.
opinion. If you, that's why they feel like they came from monkeys because they
Mhm.
came from a cave. We didn't.
Mhm.
Look at Lion King.
We we
Lion King.
haven't. We have what we call, and this is why I love this Friday so much. Black conversations. We having black conversations, and so I'm asked the question, and because I can actually throw out different questions on Fridays that sometimes I don't do it during the regular week. Yes, I agree with what you're saying. I do agree with that. They understand and they recognize who we are. But how powerful would it be once we start to understand and recognize who we are? Because what you said was in the beginning, what you said was even in your community, a lot of people that look like you and I, they would walk around almost
But
fearful
but
because
they
they
put
don't,
that fear in us.
huh?
They put that fear in us. You
Mm-hmm.
remember the Ma'afa. If you remember the Ma'afa was a to get, you know, that's when the white when slave owners said, oh my God, the slaves outnumbered us like 10-1. And if they come
Mm-hmm.
together, they could kill us and revoke us. So what they did, the Ma'afa was put the fear. That's when they started putting you know, a slaughter, like putting women on two horses and splitting them in half, you know,
Mm-hmm.
killing, putting hanging men in front of people, cutting off their genitals. You know, it was putting fear because if you put fear, that's why I say God said, I'm not giving you the spirit of fear because fear is that weakness that shows, hey, if I'm fearful, I can't stand bold. I can't be who I am because I'm fearful of whatever. I can't preach the word of God because I'm fearful. I can't go and live righteous because I'm fearful. I can't
Mm-hmm.
live this life on my community because I'm fearful of what's gonna happen to me. So once
Mm-hmm.
we get fear out of there, and once we start living our true selves, and that's where we say we sleepwalking.
Mm-hmm.
But that
Now,
fear has been put to us so deeply that
mm-hmm.
now we're fearful of this and fearful of that instead of being able to stand. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, J. Edgar Hoover, Rosa Parks, Sojourner Truth, all these people, wasn't afraid. They stood
Mm-hmm.
up and who they were, and they were able to make changes because of their power, because of the unity, because of the strength and the knowledge that we are not beneath, that we are more. Is
Mm-hmm.
that's what we need now, and we don't have.
Okay, but my thing is and I agree with you wholeheartedly, and again, that's why I love black conversations because we could talk about stuff like this. But Leonard, let me ask you this question. And I'll make this statement. I want you to comment on it because from where you're coming from, Leonard. She said that God did not give you the spirit of fear, which is true. That's biblical. That's the word. God did not give you the spirit of fear. So if someone is trying to input fear into you, they are against God. Now, who is it that's most of the time against God?
Well, I'm very I don't assume people are against God just because of what they do.
Mm-hmm.
However, there are some people who are committed to evil.
Mm.
and you know them by what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very, you know, in this world, you have to be able to protect yourself,
Mm-hmm.
self perseverance.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get yourself together for whatever reason. I know people, you know, it's scared people.
Yeah.
You know, you're just scared. If you're scared, say you're scared.
Mm-hmm.
Don't pretend. Don't become just a roadblock to other people. Trying to, you know, a lot of people try to talk you out of doing what's right.
Come
They
on.
try to talk you out of what, and they ain't white neither. You understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because I say I ain't never met no white person told me anything other but do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know, you know, there are white people that work with us who are about our call, our allies. And we can't, even if we're fearful,
Mm-hmm.
you still got to go forward.
Yep. Yep.
You know, there's a misconceived conception that everything is always great. No, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're fighting for your life.
Yep. Come on.
You know, and you got to take that same energy when you go into school
Mm-hmm.
and everything, going to work. I support excellence. You know, so sometimes people do certain.
In our community, Leonard, do we always operate in excellence in our community?
No, but it's not about our community.
Mm-hmm.
It's about individuals.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Ain't that who make up the community though? Individuals.
but if you don't, you assume that based on the color of our skin
Mm-hmm.
that we have community.
Oh, now you going somewhere. Now you hit it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't believe in community around color of skin.
Mm-hmm.
Community could be your block got certain issues that other blocks don't have.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There may be certain things going on in your particular community, black community, that's not going on in another black community.
Mm-hmm.
I always say I have no problem aligning with people who are fighting my enemy.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as there is a fight for us, I will be fighting for us.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to decrease myself. I'm not going to think less of Shira. I'm not going to demand that Raheem believe what I believe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you're fighting for what's right, that's the side you should be on.
Yeah.
Black or white, be on the right side of things.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain people that will go along with something completely wrong, some completely terrible or whatever, just because other black people are doing it.
Mm-hmm. Man, I got to do that because that's my boy. My boy with them, man. Look at it. That's my boy right there. He rolled with them, man. I got to grow with them because my boy rolling with him. It got to be right.
And I'm talking about people you don't know. Mm-hmm. That's why people should, you know, the whole notion that, you know, when we get together, there's a dynamic. Well, you know, people are always gonna have situations.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody not gonna agree. Somebody gonna fall out. Somebody not gonna always be on board with the plan.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to be able to come to an agreement.
Yeah.
On what you're going to do, and that should be the objective. Everybody should know the objective.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain black people that could care less
mm-hmm.
about and it sounds crazy, but they don't care nothing about no civil rights, no human rights. Long as they can get money, they good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then that's their mentality. As long as I get this money, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know? So we got.
They don't care who or what they sell out in order to get it and obtain that bag.
Right, and I want to address something else. Yes, you talk to your children about racism.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to them about the history of racism.
Come on,
but do not teach your children to bow to racism.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's most important.
Okay, now go into explaining the difference.
You're never less than.
Mm-hmm.
See, because one, I've watched it on the news and all these types of things, right? Clips here and there throughout history of racist white people or what have you. But you know what? I've never dealt with this more so than with African Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact on why you on white people's side.
Mm-hmm.
Or why you scared? Do you actually believe that you're inferior?
Mm. Have they been fed to you so long now? Now you're trying to digest it, and
But then the trifling person don't have no problem with that, because he don't mind crawling along on his belly. You understand? So he don't care, because he's a snake. He's satisfied with that. He may never stand up for anything. And these are the type of people you find that are usually don't have no objective or no mission or anything positive to be a part of. But don't be teaching your children that they're less than. Don't be teaching your children to bow down to white people.
Yeah.
You need to teach your children to do what's right. It's like she said, as long as they got you, as long as you're scared, you probably ain't gonna be able to do too much.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna fear all types of things. So, you know, I've had people that I'll join the organization after I retire because of whatever they're doing. They don't want no conflict. Some people don't even want to be, you know, I've met some people that don't even want to be recognized to associate with black groups. Like folks that can't say Black Lives Matter. That's those people. Soon you try to get them, you know, Black Lives Matter. Here, come join this black organization. Oh no, blah blah blah. I ain't got, you know how they act.
Yeah, yeah.
So not every black person is in agreement with everything.
Is on your side, absolutely, absolutely.
Right. So that's why we need to always put it out there in the front. With New Order, boom, we give you an agenda, what we're gonna do, how we gonna do it, and we go do that. We don't let you catch us up in your emotion. Because that's not what it's about. It's about destroying systemic racism. That's what we do. And no, I'm not gonna whine with you or cry with you about nothing.
That's good.
We're gonna have to act.
Sure, what do you say to that? Sometimes even the people in our community are the very ones that's against us.
You're so right. You know, we got our issues. We have the crawfish mentality. And I love what Leonard says. Don't teach your children, teach them about racism, but don't let them bow down to it. I teach my kids all the time that you do everything in your power that you're supposed to do. And then if it's not right or is there some racism, we're gonna handle it. But at the end of the day, that's not what we're gonna run to first. I need you to be smart. I need you to work around it. I'm not going to come to your rescue, because a lot of teachers talk about me because I say I'm not involved, but I'm more involved in my kids because I'm teaching them how to handle situations on their own. If I come to their rescue every time to take care of that situation, what have they learned? And I tell them to handle it in a respectful manner. And when you can't handle it, that's when I'm going to get involved. But when I get involved, the teacher, the principal, or whoever is not going to like my approach, because my approach is not going to be that of, hey, I'm just coming to give information. No, my daughter has done this, this, and this. You were supposed to do this, this, and this. Why wasn't that done? Because she followed protocol. So now I need to get on your butt or your supervisor's butt to see what's going on. But I don't run at the first time. Okay, well, did you do your work? Were you talking in class? Were you chewing gum in class? What were you doing to stop or to do? Did you talk to your teacher? Did you go during conference hours and talk to your teacher? Did you call your guidance counselor and let them know what was going on? Did you talk to the principal? Did you try to handle this on every end on your own and it was not successful? That's where mama gonna come in. So we have to not be fearful. And also, you're right. We have people in our own community that is for or against our agendas of trying to be productive of African American people in society. You have people, you know, just like with the Panther Party, we infiltrate our own Panther Party that was trying to do different good things. We are our own downfall. You know, someone used to tell me you could be your own trouble. You can be your own downfall. You can be your own everything because it's your own
worst enemy. Be your own worst enemy. Yep.
And we are our own worst enemy because we will do a crawfish thing in a minute. just to pull somebody down because of jealousy, because of greed, because we feel like, oh, this organization is doing so much. And and I hate that amongst Black organizations that they feel like they have to compete instead of working together to get some things done.
Exactly. Badger, what do we need to do? It's 2021, and this year is April already, so this year is not sitting still. To actually tomorrow will be May 1st. So
I'm
this year
sorry,
is
y'all. I gotta go. I love y'all so
Bye
much.
bye, Shira.
Bye, Shira. Have a good day.
look here. What? Appreciate you, sister. Love you.
I gotta take my baby to school.
All right.
Talk
Talk
Be
soon.
careful.
for him.
Absolutely. Badger, in this day and time, 2021, how can
Yes.
how can we get rid of this thing called racism, or can we?
So that's interesting. Leonard, you remember what we were talking about yesterday?
Yes.
That's a good place to start.
Come on, Badger.
So I called him yesterday and told him about some stuff I was dealing with and going through, and wanted to get his opinion on some things. And then we started talking about taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he started teaching me about the importance of taxes and everything. And I'm sitting here on the other end of the phone going, what? That's not what I was told or taught, and none of that junk. And I started realizing, like in those moments, that wait, poor white people don't get, as far as I know, don't really get taught that. We're also told that because we're not the right color, we wouldn't get anything anyway.
And
And it started getting me thinking. I'm like, I wonder how many white people out here, I've even heard it from my dad and my grandpa. My grandma wasn't really like that. That would get upset and say, man, I wish we could actually get some help with food stamps or something like that, but we're the wrong color for it. And I'm like, it just dawned on me while I was talking to Leonard yesterday. I'm like, I wonder how many white folks and stuff, me included, because I can pass for it, are actually angry and upset with other races because they honestly think they have no rights to anything because they ain't the right color.
Mm.
And what we talked about, me and Badger, is because this is what happened when people don't look at another person's situation, or people have been raised a certain way. Now, what me and Badger was talking about is there are poor white people too.
Mm-hmm.
But the way they raised is different. Like I was explaining to Badger, only difference between poor white people and poor black people is poor people went to the projects, poor white people went to the trailers. And they kept you apart. They don't want you talking to one another or anything. Now, Badger, who is in a situation in his life, who doesn't understand the importance of paying taxes, has been taught that he shouldn't take advantage.
Now, the reason of not paying taxes is I'm fully disabled, so I've been
Right.
told I have no taxable income, so there's nothing to tax for.
And
so
one
I
thing
have
we know,
nothing to get in return.
right. So a poor white person doesn't realize, I believe, that by filing taxes, it puts you in the system. Once you get in the system, it allows you access to other resources that may definitely help you. If you're poor and you're not filing taxes for whatever reason, you're leaving money on the table that has been allocated to people in certain economic situations. Earned income credit, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
It's a program for people who are lower income to give them a boost economically to try to keep them out of poverty. And so if someone teaches you that it ain't for white people, that's miseducation.
Mm-hmm.
It was created primarily for women who really lost their husbands in like to war and things like that with that sentiment. Because we also remember, like sometimes white women forget, you wasn't always a citizen neither.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't always regarded as having a life that mattered either.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because that was their situation as well.
Exactly. That's good. That's good.
So,
Rico, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Man, Grand Rising, man. Trying to do the online thing with y'all this morning. I was about to get out here and get my miles in, but I decided to be in with y'all today, man.
Man, this is we having black conversations, man. And Rico, what can we do? Have we done enough? Do some people even care to get rid of this thing called racism?
Oh, no, some people definitely don't care to get rid of it because it benefits them.
Mm-hmm.
Privilege that comes with it. You know, it's going to be inevitable. I mean, well, impossible
Mm-hmm.
to get rid of racism because, you know, individuals have their own beliefs, their own ways of understanding. Some people have been misinformed, misprogrammed. And so it's going to be hard to get rid of that concept because it took hold and lasted so long.
Mm-hmm.
And the programming that went on with that, the mindsets over centuries that went on along with that is going to be getting hard to get rid of. Like with some black people that for some reason we have been we adapted and we conformed to comply to authority.
Mm-hmm.
And that authority figure always came in the image of a white male. So now for some reason, even in TV, on the news, or when it comes to a cop or a boss, for some reason, a lot of black people, when they hear it come from a white person, then it means it may have more legitimacy.
Mm-hmm.
It may have more possibility of being true.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing it from somebody that's right next to you. I know black people that won't even listen to people in their family telling them facts.
Mm-hmm.
They'll debate. They won't agree with it until some white man comes around and say, well, see, where it really does make more sense to do it this way, because I guess we're trying to get into that lifestyle and that way of life or whatever the American dream is. We feel like since they know better what it feels like and what it took to get there, that the information of the path to get there would be better to learn from them than from somebody. You know, it's almost like saying, well, you can't take advice from somebody unless they've been there.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of black people are not going to take advice from another black person because they aren't there on that same pedestal or level as they view white authority, whether it's a teacher, a principal, a CEO, or police officer. And see, it's unconscious. See, that unconscious thought process is what people don't like that self. When you talk about racist white people, some of them, it's hard for them to accept that they actually participate or believe in some of these behaviors because they unconsciously grasp onto some of those beliefs, some of the stereotypes. So it's hard to accept that. You know, you have a lot of white people that say, man, I'm not racist. I'm not racist. And some of them, they are not completely racist consciously, but unconsciously, they still have this, we need to reach down and lift y'all up mentality. Y'all need to listen to us mentality. We have the better education. We came from a better background mentality. So you still have that privileged mentality from some white people that aren't racist. And so with them not understanding that it's racism, they'll never be able to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Let me go to, I think we have Toya with a T. Toya with a T. Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Hello, good morning, beautiful people. Good morning, hello.
Hello there. How you doing? We're talking right now, you know, this is Black Conversation that we're talking, you know, we go a little deep on conversation that we have on Fridays now. What can we do? How can we exist or even get rid of this thing called racism?
I don't think there's no way of getting rid of it. Only advice I can give is mind your business, but keep your nose up. Keep your eyes open for whatever get ready to go down, honey. Because hey, we're human. We're not animals.
Mm-hmm.
You got the right to do and be whatever you want to. It's just against the law to be killing folks with it. So now you come bring your racist behind over the head, you get popped.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you. But I mean, eradicate racism, that's the choice. People don't, I mean, you ain't gotta like me. You did not like me for whatever reason. You can become either because my eyes too big or my head too daffy. Right? You have that's a God-given right.
Mm-hmm.
I think the part that we need to work on is the things that happen when you operate from a racist spirit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's laws against it. And I think the important part is maintaining and upholding that accountability when racist things happen.
Mm-hmm.
You can't kill somebody just because you're racist or just because you just can't like them. You can't violate the law just because of my skin color with that individual. You know what I'm saying? And that's, you're right. Like, everybody don't have to like me. I'm cool with that. You know, and I think the culture today is, oh, everybody don't like me. I don't care. Because I'm going to be me, I'm going to do me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, you know, there's no getting rid of racism. We just need to start increasing the accountability level when racist things happen, man. But I'm cool with you being a racist. I'm cool staring in, looking you dead in your face, say, you know what, please? I don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
You are a nigger, and I can't stand it. Oh, well, I ain't too fond of you either, Saltine, but as long as you don't put your hands on me, and as long as you don't do nothing extra, we cool, you know? But racism ain't going nowhere, and neither is air. So you better figure out how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Now, Rico said that, and I'm going to go to Rico. I see you, bro. But Rico said that a lot of times in our community, one of us could give each other the best advice on any situation, but we won't take that advice or embrace that advice unless it comes from somebody outside of our community that don't look like us. Why is that the case? Toy?
Oh, I keep talking to Rico.
Mm-mm.
Okay, and you said what now, one more time?
Rico said that a lot of times we won't take advice from somebody that look like us, and we'll push to the side like it don't mean anything. But then somebody that don't look like us will come along and say the exact same thing, or even less than what the other person said, but we'll embrace it like it's gospel. Why?
Right. Yeah, we special. That's why deception of the devil, honey. Deception of the devil.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first things that you know is the devil is killing, stealing, and destroying. And whenever he destroys unity,
mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just common sense. That's something that we do. That's just like, it's this nature of a human. Like, it seems like when you get with somebody who's good to you, you just cannot do the right thing. You do the exact opposite. Mm-hmm. I think that falls like in that category, man. It's just like this deception of the devil, man. That makes you think or feel like somebody who's not there with you every day cares more about your best interest. I don't know. It's weird, but I don't know. I think that's just like a spirit. I think that's like a spirit that's over us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That we value other people's opinions. I think that, you know, the conditioning that we've gone through is a generational thing with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just something that, with all we've been through, you know, that conscious, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
We don't trust it. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to trust a person from been through what we've been through. You know, and not for nothing. Let me just be 100, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love my parents, right? I love my parents. They taught me a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't always make all the right decisions and choices, and some things I wasn't listening to because I just know you're not right. Mm-hmm. You didn't even do that. So how are you trying to tell me about how to talk Spanish? You ain't even been to Spain. You don't even know what "see" means. But you come trying to tell me something that you don't know nothing about. You know what I'm saying? I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah.
Because when I was younger, especially when I was, you know, a manager, my parents knew a lot, but then it was like they was trying to tell me certain things you don't even know about food. Mm-hmm. You can't leave food out all night. You know what I'm saying? Those things we do help. You can't do that. You can't do that. And then sometimes when I got older, it would become a problem because now you don't know what you're talking about. Now you're not exercising, and you don't even do have the things that I do or whatever. So, you know, it's a couple of things that goes to why we don't listen to people, especially if they surround us. You're not listening to mama and she ain't got her stuff together. You're not listening to daddy and they ain't got their stuff together. You ain't listening to uncle either. So, you know, I think it depends on the situation.
Exactly.
It'll be worth listening to.
Rico, you had your hand up, brother. You want to say something? Talk to me.
Yeah, I got two things I'm gonna hit on real quick. You know, the reason why that does is because it hits from two sides. It hits unconsciously, but it hits from a physical side too, the visual side that we already know truly happened. See, when you subconsciously or unconsciously hear phrases such as good guys wear white, bad guys wear black. You see pictures of a white Jesus. You hear this about the wedding dress, purity of it being white, you know, how that all adds up and equates, you know, and you start conforming and subconsciously associating good with white, right with white. And white people do the same thing. So many words you put black on is always a negative connotation put with it. So here it is, you got the unconscious programming on this right or left side of your brain. And then you got the other side of the brain that's actually visualizing the history of people treating people like they are privileged and better or less than or superior to, beating them, killing them with impunity, no punishment, no deterrence. And so, you know, and subconsciously, you know, you're seeing that and feeling like, okay, I got to be submissive because I can't stop. I can't do nothing about that. They're more powerful than us. Okay, that is that subconscious thinking that they're more powerful than you. But then on top of it, you get what I'm saying? It's programming into your brain. Not only did you see this, but you're believing it from words that you're hearing. But so we say, can we ever get rid of racism? If you could get rid of it, it wouldn't make the thought process disappear, but it would make the actions that people perpetrate behind racism disappear. My thing is this. I think if you create the terrorists punishable by crime, I mean, you know, like punishable like criminal crimes. Sooner or later, you start changing that mindset. Sooner or later, you have people that don't want to participate in racism because they have the fear of being prosecuted if it's proven, and not only prosecuted, but prosecuted with extreme sentences for the practice of it. That goes from a CEO to a human resource manager. If a human resource manager has been found to practice racism in his hiring practices, which has in turn affected certain people's rights to a livelihood, to survival. If you let racism determine who was going to come to your job and survive and then pick the right person, you should be prosecuted criminally. So you have to create deterrence. You have to create deterrence. You have to create punishments. And subconsciously, so I mean, because pretty much that's what happened with Black people in slavery. They created punishments and penalties to make Black people conform and become submissive. So if you want to make racism submissive, punishments, put punishments and deterrence on it, and see if that same science doesn't work. That work to make racism successful.
Donald Toussaint, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How you doing this morning?
That was my answer.
To what Rico just said, and I agree with a lot of what he said, but I have a question off what he said. If you take the racism out of a person, what is it better? To take it out of their minds or to take it out of their hearts? Which is better?
It starts, we think it, but if it gets in the heart, you got it. I mean, it's hard to get rid of something in the heart. Matter of fact, what come out of your mouth, it proceeds out of the heart. I think that's how some people are taught racist, but when they get to the point that they really accept it for what it is, it's embedded into the heart. when, you know, you can introduce me to something or a person. And when you start getting familiar with it, it begins to be starts with a fond of. You start liking it. Then when you get more and more entangled in it, you start to love that thing. Well, that's a heartfelt feeling. And there are people that love it. I mean, they it's just it's in the heart. The mind, you know, you can reprogram the mind. We see that every day. That's just me, you know. But the other question that I heard you ask, can you get rid of it? No. It started before we got here. I promise you that. There are some people that just don't. I think Paul said, don't like you just because you breathe it. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
It's not because you have a radio show or you're an activist or you got a good job or you broke. It's because you don't look a certain way. You don't talk a certain way. They don't have they don't even know you.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you are, let me put it how it's said, you one of them. What the heck that means?
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
I don't like none of them.
Wow.
I hate them people. Them people. What people you talking about?
Yeah. Now, Leonard, coming from the corporate world, do you sometimes find it's difficult for some individuals to be up under the management or leadership of people that look like you and I, and that could be black or white. You know, it don't matter.
There are definitely some people that have a preference. When I started managing in corporate America, I know there were some older white people that decided to retire.
Wow.
And I helped them do that.
Is that because you became a part of the team?
Well, they didn't have a problem there before. And the majority of them were white. So there are some people who don't care for that. If you notice, that's why you don't see a whole bunch of, I used to always wonder, why don't you see a lot of white boys working at fast food restaurants? Think about it. Have that in the back of your mind.
Oh, yeah.
The number of fast food restaurants that you go to. How often are you waited on by someone who is a young white male? Because he has already learned that wherever he is, he needs to be at the top. So some jobs he not even going to take because he has been trained that, you know, I'm better than that. And so I used to always wonder, well, if we need these jobs, why don't the white boys need these jobs?
Yeah.
Where they at? And so those types of things, you say, okay, let me go find out. Let me do some research. And that's how I believe you should approach a lot of things. A lot of people will come and say, you know what? They fired me because I'm black. No, they fired you, it seems like, because you got a problem being on time. That's why you was fired. I'm not looking at no other case but yours. That's why you got fired.
Yeah.
Another person may look at it and say, they always firing black people. That has nothing to do with why this person is fired. Unless, let's see, do they have white people that are late that they don't fire? That's racism.
Yeah.
But see, you think because it happened to you that it's definitely racism, when a lot of times it may not be.
Ain't got nothing to do with it.
Ain't got nothing to do with it. So just simply knowing what racism is and accepting the fact that it's doing things unfairly is something you need to be concerned about. That's how you get involved, like my man Rico, for instance, and myself. When we working somewhere, we gonna get involved. We may get involved with the union, or we may work with people and fight for their rights as well. Because guess what? We work there too, and we want things to be fair. I was in a situation where not only was I discriminated against because I was black, I was discriminated against also because I was a man. Okay. And it happened because there was a person in authority who happened to be white, who happened to be a female, who happened to be a lesbian. Now, before the position, I was a number one supporter. Simply because she stood up for herself. She seemed to treat people decently and everything. The moment she was given authority, it changed.
Yeah.
The moment she was given authority, it changed. Now think about your jobs and the places you've been. And you may have had coworkers that were once your peer, then they got promoted or what have you. Did they change?
A lot of the times, yes, sir.
See, when you give somebody a little authority, a little power.
Yep.
If they ain't, if they got evil intentions, guess what's gonna come out? Just that.
Exactly.
So we have to be aware. Can racism be defeated? Yes, but all the racists must die. Or they must be removed from authority. That's how you defeat racism. Remember that. That's how you defeat racism. Not being mad, not crying, not being emotional. No, that ain't no way to defeat nothing. Removing them from power is what you must do.
Okay. Let me go, Toya with the T. Let me ask you this question because it was brought up about the restaurants and stuff like that, and a lot of our Caucasian brothers and sisters don't work in certain restaurants. What is the blueprint? Because when I thought about it, and I thought about what Linda was saying, Chick-fil-A is one of the places that you will see a lot of our brothers, Caucasian brothers and sisters working in Chick-fil-A. Right. So, and I'm trying to figure out what is their blueprint. What are they doing that's so different? What they're attracting, and a McDonald's, Burger King, Hardee's, churches, and places like that is not attracting. What are they doing different?
Well, I don't know if we know it or not, but we do know that Chick-fil-A is a Christian company, right?
Yes.
Their values. Their morals and their values is what do it. You know, first of all, whatever you put the Lord on, it's going down there.
Come on, preacher.
Everybody from everywhere gonna come.
Come on, preacher.
You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, their values, and even with me, right? Because what they would do is they would send me to locations that were the worst of the worst, right? Maynard Terrace, Panola Road, things like that. And my goal was to make them get it. And you know what they understood? Being the best. When I went in there, I was going to tell them, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do these old, you know how they feel about black neighborhoods. We're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? And they come to people. And I had all kinds of people, young, old, thugs, criminals, you name it, even a few white. But I will tell you what I learned probably at 2004 in my early career. When you work on the outside level, like certain people, they still consider that as the field. This must have been 2004, 2003, something like that. And the word was, black people do better in the, I ain't gonna say in the field, but in the stores. So that's why a lot of the Caucasian Americans are in the corporate buildings executing the plans. They don't normally work in the stores, but when they come to Chick-fil-A, their program is phenomenal. Their standards is phenomenal. What they require you to do to own a location is phenomenal. It's all about unity. It's all about God, and that's what they hold their people accountable to. They're not playing with you, and they will snatch that store from about there as soon as you act like you don't want to follow the brand. But Chick-fil-A is awesome, awesome, awesome company. Let me tell you something. Chick-fil-A will make a change. because the kickback program, the incentives, the money that you make, and you see the brand every day.
Do they pay? Do they pay more? Do they pay more?
Well, actually,
Really?
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that they pay for it, but you don't have to pay for it up front.
No, I say,
Long as
do
you don't have
they
a
pay? No, do they pay the employees more money per hour?
Well, they do now. They were one of the first ones to start paying their employees
Mm-hmm.
15, but they've always paid their employees top dollar, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, when it comes to you being a franchise owner, you're getting 50% of everything year one. And their lowest grossing store is $3.1 million a year.
Wow.
So for those, yeah, but listen, they have guidelines. You have to pray. You have to be married. You have to be a Christian. There are certain things that are part of their standard that you got to get with, and they're not playing. You come up in there all you want to saying, oh yeah, I'm a Christian, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a this, I'm a that. Break one of them guidelines, come up in there playing and see what happens. Oh yeah, oh no, hey, say this contract right here. Listen, if you're not gonna follow by and do anything to hurt the reputation of the brand, you can't be here. You're in violation of your contract, honey. We're more than happy to get your money back, but you can't stay here no more. Chick-fil-A don't play. They are very, 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 very strict. They look at everything. They pay attention to everything, and it's a true from every store that I've seen, a true Christian environment. So you got to be right when you go there, but that's the only difference. And I've worked a lot of fast food places that I've seen. They're the ones that hold the highest amount of integrity.
Wow. Badger, talk to me. What do you Chick-fil-A, man? Are they the measuring stick?
I'd say so. They wouldn't let me work there because I wouldn't claim it.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I've ever been to one, every single person in there was courteous, kind, respectful. Very much like follow the rules. I definitely think like the morals and respect of other human beings can definitely be learned from that company.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But it's very religious to work there, so it's not my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
But it'd probably do good for some people to work there and learn some of those things.
Exactly. Rico, is that a good standard to have?
It's an awesome standard to have, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, I believe the only way they can get that to apply is by having a religious affiliation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because things are so extreme now, and people are so greedy. Go back and use that word capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
People are so hooked on capitalizing now that they take respect and honor out of it. And when I mean respect for other people. See, the way I've always experienced Chick-fil-A is those people that work there treat you as if they wanted to be treated the same way if they were customers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so you can't beat that. And see that model that Chick-fil-A has, man, even if you took the religion out of it, if you just took the model of Chick-fil-A and applied it to every company, the United States would change, because first off, you can tell they respect the fact that you got to survive, so they're going to pay you fairly.
Mm-hmm.
They have a standard. They have value. So if you have a company, you find a company that actually values respect and morals, they definitely are family oriented.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt family oriented. You find a company that's strict about being righteous and fair. We ain't gonna tolerate none of this, you know what I'm saying? We're not gonna even give you the chance to open the door to come in with something that can start leading to negativity.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about positive over here. And we uphold it strictly. See, when you see how they function, it really shows you how every organization is supposed to function if they want to become successful and at the same time be positive and righteous. So you got a lot of successful companies out here. They're not profit sharing like that. They're not giving you 50% if you own the restaurant. They're not paying their employees on the bottom end and make everything work fair enough. But those people that work for Chick-fil-A, man, you can see it in their faces, man. You can see the peace. You can see the joy. You can see that they like being at work. They don't mind being at work. And so it's the perfect model all the way around. If you want happy employees, you get a good product, you know what I'm saying, and everything runs smooth. You don't have people coming shooting up your company. I know it. It would probably take a deposed shift before you see somebody come to shoot up Chick-fil-A because they're mad. I mean, unless they were an extreme radical religious person, you know. But I sort of want to go back to what you were saying earlier about the I'm gonna say that being submissive and favoring or valuing the word of the oppressor more. You know, I think sometimes that, you know, I put it to you this way. It's really embarrassing and shameful for a person to realize that they participate in that behavior. You know, earlier I said that sometimes you have white people that say they're not racist, but at the same time, unconsciously, they have discriminatory or racist beliefs. They don't look at them as racist. They just look at them as that's what they do. That's how things go. It's just the way it is. And see, that's what used to get me. That to me, that was another way of being submissive or accepting that you were inferior. That's just the way it is. No, that ain't just the way it is.
Yeah.
It ain't just the way it is. So, you know, unconsciously, some people have conformed and accepted that they are inferior, and they don't even realize it. And so, can you imagine? It's one thing to be a white person running around here feeling like, man, I'm doing everything that God wants me to do. The universe is in my favor because I'm not racist, but you still have these unconscious racist beliefs. It's hard for them to accept that, just like it's hard for black people to accept unconsciously that they accept being inferior, or less than. But if you listen to a lot of black people talk, if you just look at how a lot of black people live, they do accept that mentality that they're less than. That's just the way it is. We our neighborhood is automatically gonna be dirty. Ain't nothing wrong with throwing trash out the window. It ain't nothing but trash. Wait a minute, where your standards?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's almost like, well, hey, I ain't got to respect it because it's the black side of town. I ain't got to respect this store because it's a black-owned store. And we subconsciously embrace that same mindset sometimes, the mindset of the oppressor. And it's crazy, you know. So imagine the mindset of people that realize they are the Sambo, they are the sellouts, or they are the racist that they claim not to be. It takes a lot for people to wake up and realize when they're participating in the systems like that.
Exactly. Tucson, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart? Let me come to you next.
Oh, I don't know, man. Sometimes it's just how did we? I say we. It's just the individual. We get put in a pile of I don't even know how to say it because we can I'm gonna use Badger for it. Badger, I'm gonna use you for example.
Go for it, man.
Just by association, Badger can be thrown in the bunch. Does that make any sense? You know, because there are some people. Just for instance, me and one of your enemies can be friends. And how can we not even get to the point that we dislike a person just because another person don't like them? I don't know if that's off, but it happens every day. And I say we, because I think we don't relate to, there's a person that just can try to live righteous or live right or think he's on the top of the world and his skin tone is different. I can do the same thing that he does. And I still would be seen as the lesser. How did that come about? I don't even know how to get in this conversation, man, because I don't fit in.
Okay, Donald, let me ask you this question. I asked a question earlier about can some people find it hard to be up under leadership, management of a person look like you or I if they don't look like you or I? Do you have any situation like that?
I used to assume when I first was, I applied for this job and they told me I didn't sell myself.
Mm-hmm.
5 years later, the VP told him, he says, look, give him that job.
Mm-hmm.
And the managers and the directors, and he had no say-so in the matter.
Mm-hmm.
And my manager came to me, said it fast across the office. He says, I didn't like it at that job because I didn't have to say.
Mm-hmm.
They would file grievances. They would call the hotline. They would do everything they possibly could. And I sat in the meeting, and one person looked like me. He pointed out, he had a little sheet of paper. He says, Tucson got a problem with people of color.
Mm.
What you said? What did you say? So, oh man, you'd be surprised how much I can do the right thing, but it always seem like the wrong thing because somebody else got that chance.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I think that's
or if you do it right, they act like they surprised that you did it right. Oh, you got that?
Yeah. Leonard?
Is it,
Go ahead, Patrick. Go ahead.
like me with most of my work experience and stuff like that, I always had a tendency to tell managers to hire someone that wasn't white because most of the time they didn't have the same work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd get accused of all kinds of things. And my response usually was, well, prove me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I only had like very few that could actually prove me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So like we were talking earlier, and I'm grateful for Leonard because he explained it a lot better of the conversation we were having. Talking about racism and working and everything else. It's it's not just the racism I feel that is the problem. It's misinforming and making people seem inferior. Like me sharing my experiences. I'm going to share something that's kind of personal. I know Leonard knows about it because we kind of touched on it. And I still got to figure out if I can find that person's name to actually do something about it. But me and my wife's been having the fight for health insurance for my wife. And earlier, about a month or two ago, we called in to the local Medicaid office. I was talking to a lady about our case and everything, and she saw that I put down that me and our sons are Native American. She asked if we had a card, and I was like, no. She said, does your wife have a card? And I went, no. And she said, well, unfortunately, because you're not a different race, your wife is not going to be able to get any help with Medicaid. Now, this is a state official that works for Texas for the Medicaid system that is telling me and my wife that because she isn't black or Mexican or Native American, my income is too high and she wouldn't be eligible for health insurance. Even though I'm on disability, my disability check is too much for her to be able to get help. And that was one of the reasons I was told why.
I'm trying to figure. There got to be there got to be some kind of other avenue they can travel to get the help that they need. You muted, Leonard. You muted, Leonard.
I think one thing, one of the main things me and Badger talked about is misinformation. Anytime someone tells you something and can't show it to you, they're probably not misinforming you. I can guarantee you there is no law that says that she can't get health insurance unless she's a minority.
No.
So when I'm talking to Badger, I notice that there must be something that he doesn't know that I know.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those things we talk about is that misinformation. You know how some people will, well, you know, they don't let black people do that.
Mm-hmm.
Have any of you all, you know how you heard
Yeah.
sometimes, oh, black
Yeah.
people can't do that. Oh, they'll never let a black person do that, but you ain't about to let me do nothing. I do
Mm-hmm.
whatever I want to do. So
Mm-hmm.
but people will tell you those things to keep you from finding your way.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can make you believe that you ain't nobody because black lives don't matter and you don't need to do nothing, that will allow the police to keep doing what they're doing and everybody else to keep doing what they're doing. And I'm just really telling you that the reason why is because you're black.
So the reason I'm bringing this up is there are going to be people out there that are racist, but I think there are also people out there that are just angry because they are so misinformed, because they honestly have the thought process. Like where I grew up in South Carolina, most of the people that I grew up around that had issues with black people was literally because they were angry because they honestly thought they could not get any help whatsoever because they weren't the right color.
Mm-hmm.
But they talk good about them. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
said that 90% of the time they have a better work ethic. Their communities are usually better because most of the time white people are selfish and self-centered, you know, things like that. But they were angry because they felt that the government took better care of them than they did us poor white folks.
Mm-hmm.
And see, a lot of people don't understand this dynamic. Now, take poor black people fighting against poor white people. Y'all ain't got nothing. You've been manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
You're being manipulated to hate one another simply because of the color of your skin. And this is what I try to explain to black people. You know why a lot of white people don't want to hear about white privilege? Because they sitting over there struggling, got less than you. They see you driving around in a fancy car, you living in a big house, you get money for groceries and everything else. And here they is, poor as hell, but they've been trained to go get help. You must be black. See, only
Wow.
black people need help. Only poor black uneducated people need help. White folks can't go get that help because you better than black folk. Now you sitting over here with 2 nickels, can't feed your family. Because you sitting around and talk, I ain't going to get that. That's for the black people and everything. So now pride kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now. I'm living in a rural. I see more white people standing in front of the Social Security office before COVID than I had ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm. You said before
COVID.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I live in rural Georgia, right?
Mm-hmm.
So guess where a lot of poor people live that are white? They live in rural areas.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is shocking to me is when I go to the Social Security office, and it's the first time I don't see more of them in line than us.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the population, the demographics, and everything in the area that I live.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine you hollering about white privilege, and this white man can't feed his family.
Mm-hmm.
But yet they sending you checks every month. Yeah, that gonna make people mad.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna make people real upset.
Mm-hmm.
Like what? If you would have asked me that years ago, I would have flat out said, "Then why in the world are you over there driving a BMW or a Lincoln? I can barely afford the little Buick that's over here, you know, or the old Ford Granada station wagon, you know, from the '80s. That's practically a hand-me-down. Like, how in the world did you be able to afford a car like that? You know, so." I'll admit I was angrier when I was younger. Then I used my brain and I actually started talking to people and I'm like, "Y'all, you guys get treated the same as we do. Why do we hate each other so much?"
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I started having amazing conversations and all kinds of cool stuff, but it blew my mind that it's easier to talk to black folks about this stuff than it is white folks.
Mm-hmm.
It blew my mind. It's most of the white folks I know that we can actually sit down and have a conversation about this are around my age, our ages.
Mm-hmm.
Younger ones really don't know much about it, and the older ones still have that mentality that, you know, or I guess in some cases it could be pride or other things like that. You know, but that's what it is. You know, and that's why it always drove me nuts when I heard about the, you know, white supremacy, white privilege, and all that. Because I'm like, if you can explain to me how that works, because I have not been able to pull any of that off. I try to pull white privilege, and they look at me going, "What do you want? You ain't the, you know." So I'm just, you know, I'm less than the rest of them because I don't have the money that they have, or I'm not doing it the way they want me to do it. I don't treat people the way they want me to treat them because, you know, it's a trained mentality that's unfortunate, but there's a lot of people that aren't even aware of it. And most of the time when you even try to talk about it with some folks, you know, they don't even want to hear it or accept it. I was on Discord yesterday and there was a young man. You know, he started doing that council culture stuff with me and all kinds of stuff. And, you know, he's a younger white dude and he lives in Texas too. And I'm just sitting there baffled. And I'm like, have you done any of your research or are you just spewing stuff out? Because he started talking about racism and white privilege and all that. And I started asking him questions and stuff. And I'm like, have you actually done the research? And nope. So there's that misinformation, you know, I just want to make sure people understand that you can't go around saying that every white person is that way just because they're looking at you with hateful eyes. They might be, what looks like hate is actually anger because they honestly think you're better off than they are, even though you are both poor. Because they see the house that you're living in, but they see the car you're driving too. You know.
Let me go to Toya with it. That's good. That's good, man. I'm definitely glad that we got here, man. I think we're covering a lot. But Toya, let me ask you this question: how much of it is because Badger said that a lot of times they would look at him a certain way and would not let him in because he don't have the money and stuff like that they have. So how much of economics is driving this car that we're talking about right now? Toya? Toya, you there? We could handle that. How much is economics driving this vehicle?
I mean, I said it earlier, capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been driving it, and it ain't gonna stop driving it. You know, some people they value money more than life. They value life more than humanity. So there's no problem for them to not have an open mind or to have enough compassion in them to reason. To me, the thing is in history, with me, when I studied history, I put myself in the shoes of the winner and the loser and said, how would I feel if that was me that suffered this loss or this defeat? Then I put myself in the shoes of the victor or the oppressor. And I thought to myself, well, how does it feel to stomp on a baby and cut it out of a woman's belly? How barbaric can that be? Could I do that to somebody? No, I couldn't do that to nobody. That's inhumane.
Yeah.
Could I allow somebody to do such and such to me? No, I couldn't do that. That's inhumane. But then when you see that people did it, then you got to ask yourself, well, what made them allow that to happen? Or what made them go through the thought process of feeling like they want to cut a baby's belly, cut a baby out of a woman's belly and then stomp it out? So, you know, what it is you have to put yourself in other people's shoes. You have to be open-minded enough to reason. I mean, don't get me wrong, I looked at things from the point of view of a racist. I ain't even say racist, I'm a poor white person. I looked at things from a poor white person's point of view and understood that the lack of access has a big impact. Good and bad has a huge effect on people. The lack of access or the amount of access you get has a huge impact on people. So you have some poor white people that really don't understand how they can see a rich black person when white people are supposed to be dominant. But see, once again, in reasoning, you go back and think about history and you think of reasoning, you would have to understand that black person driving that Mercedes or that BMW had to do a few things for this to exist. He either had to work very hard and jump over a whole lot of obstacles and fight a lot of racism to get here, or he had to do a lot of butt kissing and samboing to get there. It was only a few things that's obvious that could happen.
Yeah.
Still, without dismissing the fact that white privilege exists. Same thing with a black person. You know, a black person may automatically assume, well, you know what? How that black man get to live on that side of the neighborhood? That ain't for us. How you get a job in there? How you do that? White people and black people, they underestimate the intelligence of a black person or the willpower, the resilience to keep fighting to live in this neighborhood, or the intelligence to organize and hire a group of people and protest and get lawsuits filed so you can move to this neighborhood. The process to get justice. Some people don't understand how that works. And so, you know, if the reasoning skills are so important, you know, for us to be able to adapt, to function, to understand how to operate around racism, how to defeat it. You got to put yourself in those people's shoes. Put yourself in a poor white person's shoes. Some of them probably would say, man, I don't understand white privilege. Because I get treated wrong by other white people too. So why is it that they treat me wrong? Well, that's when you start understanding that you still have to improve your education and understand class. You know, when you really have a true access to education, then everything starts to come together full circle, and you start seeing how this system works and why it is important to have unity. Because a lot of us are in the same situation, and it's not a race issue, it is a class issue. But if you are misinformed and living with blinders on, you will let race be a dominant factor and won't even pay attention to class. So here it is, you're a poor white person burning conservative. You're a poor white person talking about you want Trump in office, or that you want the 1% to get tax cuts or bailouts, but it ain't gonna help you none. You understand this because it's improving white way of life, but it's making sure that white people are gonna stay in control, whether you get a piece of the pie or not.
Is that pretty much? Did you hear Senator Scott? I think his name is Scott out of South Carolina. When he came,
I don't listen to that dude no more. That dude, that ain't nothing but he's when I tell you he would take some disrespect. When I saw Trump look past him a couple of years ago and didn't shake his hand, and then he still supported this man and stood strong. Man, I don't want nothing to do with that little dinosaur teeth, man, at all, man. He need to go get some lint put on his teeth. I don't like something ain't right with him anyway with them big gums.
Because what he tried to do, look at full Leonard in, man. You got him. But what happened was Biden had his speech, and he said something, and I put it on my page. He said racism don't exist. It never existed or anything in America. He said we live in America where racism don't exist. I'm gonna try to pull it up and I'm gonna play it for y'all. Leonard,
you know what? I think that dude is the first person to wear one of them masks that they've been selling online, where white people been putting on the mask. But I think he was the very first one to pull it off and make it work. They just ain't let us know he was part of the mask club for men. He's something ain't right with that dude, man.
Yeah, he's sure. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna try to pull up. Leonard, what do you say to that? Did you hear when he said that?
I'm like Rico. Some people I don't listen to. He on that same list with Candace Owens.
Yeah.
I listened to Candace Owens one or two times, find out what she was about, and then I knew that wasn't a person on my side. That's the enemy. Tim Scott is the same way. Tim Scott is the enemy. He fights for the enemy. He'll do anything for the enemy. He is the true definition of a sellout. He does not care what the situation. And have you ever seen Tim Scott when he has to admit something is wrong that white folk did? It looked like he want to cry, Rico. It looked like he want to cry because he got to tell the truth. I don't fool with cats like that.
That reality kills him, man. When he see reality, man, it's almost like, okay, yeah, y'all see this, how big a fool I am,
man. But he can't let it go because he caught up in it. And look what he gets to do because of it. They let him do what he do. They appointed him to do what he does. Now, if you don't go to the polls and get rid of this man, that's your fault. Authority put him where he is. And he gonna serve that authority, even if it's to the detriment to everybody else that look like him. See, that's a mentality.
Come
I'm
on.
gonna be on their side, regardless of what they do.
Listen to this.
Mhm.
Listen to this. I'm a.
Hear me clearly. America is.
Oh.
Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country. Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country. Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country.
Now, I'm gonna be very direct, Raheem.
Uh-oh. Do I need to hit? Do I need to get my beat button ready?
No, don't get your beat button ready.
Okay, go ahead.
Remember the voice. Remember the cadence of the voice. Remember the tone of the voice. And how he said what he said. Even notice the punctuation he put on the words. Whenever you hear that, be careful. When they call in here, because they'll probably call in if they're listening to me right now. She know who she is. That's why I can't trust you.
Wow.
Because you sound a lot like him. So even if I was ignorant, you sound like him. He represents them. So don't offer me nothing. I don't want nothing you have. Because I know who you serve.
Wow.
I know who you serve. And you're not gonna go too far away from your master. You're gonna always try to be in his face, cheesing and grinning. Look at me, man. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Ain't I acceptable?
Tim Scott.
Ain't I acceptable?
Look here. Like Malcolm said, the house Negro would say, Master, we sick.
Thank you.
Wow.
And then I'm gonna put a lot of that on TV. You know what I'm saying? TV helps shape these things and these beliefs. The media.
Yeah.
Now you would think that the way someone speak, well, that's just the way black people talk. No, that's the way black people heard white folks talking. That's why they talk like that, because that's what they heard. And so they thought broken English now is cool. An African doesn't talk like that over here.
Exactly.
Okay. So it's enough to get knowledge, but what you gonna use it for? What are you gonna use the knowledge you have for? It don't matter if you black or white.
Yeah.
If you ignorant, you're gonna have a problem. A lot of times, if you ignorant, you're not gonna understand the importance of education. Then you got folks now hating on education. I'm like, why would black folks hate on education? Or every time you see something, that's the first black person I seen do that, because ain't none of y'all applying. That's why. I fail to believe I'm so special. I fail to believe that. I fail to believe that a lot of my friends are so special. But what we do have in common is we want to do what's best. We want to be excellent. We want to pursue happiness the way we want to pursue it. And we're not sitting here trying to cut it with white folks' opinion about us. We got to get it, bro. We have to get it.
But Leonard, this dude said out of his mouth on national television, America is not a racist country.
Well, imagine what he do if he's saying that on TV. Imagine what he doing behind closed doors.
Rico, talk to me. I know, brother.
He left half of it off. Maybe America isn't a racist country; it's just a whole lot of racist people running it.
I like that.
He left that part off of it. You know,
you need to send him that email.
Make that a meme for him to tag him in it or something. But you know, it's I sort of want to go back to that mindset thing again, man. That unconscious programming. Because I heard a comment earlier about cops having fear of black men.
Mhm.
And I'm like, man, you know what? Sometimes we got to use some reasoning and some logic. We know there's a level of danger that may come with being an officer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you go into a job that requires bravery and courage, why you gonna take it when you're scared of folks? When you got
Right.
fear? So you know, we got to sit down and understand when people use things as defense mechanisms,
Yes, sir.
ways to deflect, to make things okay. Oh, you got to identify with him. He went into a hostile environment and he was in fear of his life because of this rowdy black crowd. They even tried to play it in the George Floyd trial. People upset with watching somebody dying, being labeled as unruly, hostile. No, we trying to touch your heart. We trying to touch your brain somewhere. Maybe you will hear this urgency in us that we seeing a man die. Man, this is terrifying us. We had to make sure we protected the scene. We had an unruly crowd of people gathering, and the police were in fear. So he put his hands in his pockets and he showed a little look on his face, a little smirk, and then he lifted his foot off the ground and gave him a little bit more juice. Because he was so scared. So, you know, sometimes we got to quit using their arguments and use some logic. Don't just take their word for it because they said question it. Use the logic behind it. If you so scared, why you got this job, punk?
Yeah.
Thank you. How you
Go
scared?
go somewhere and be a janitor.
Yeah.
Don't go out here and want to put yourself in a line of fire and rescue people or break up fights or keep the peace. Don't put yourself in that line of fire. So you know that should never be an argument. But then we heard black people come back and say the same thing. Last year we had a huge argument on this platform because somebody that stood along with the blue line, the blue line stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just unacceptable to me that you put a person in an airplane and he put a parachute on, and this is what he goes to Fort Bragg to learn to be a paratrooper, but then all of a sudden when he get up there, you know what? I'm scared of heights. You get in the military, I don't like guns. Man, you don't sit down somewhere, you know what? You go be a cheerleader then. Go do a makeup tutorial. But don't sit up and try to say, and so we have to look at ourselves and say, you know what? How much brainwashing have we received?
Exactly.
Just to sit back and listen to somebody else's excuse and say, yeah, I understand. Y'all fearful, y'all got a lot on your plate. Nah, man, you brave and courageous. You looking forward to going out here in this world and stopping crime. And protecting people. You looking for you got an opportunity to be a hero. You ain't scared. You're a liar.
Exactly.
You're a racist liar.
Badger, what do you think about what that fella said, Tim Scott, that America is not a racist country?
I want to know what drugs he's on. Maybe I might actually try it and see if it'll help me deal with what I deal with.
Well, you say you need a hit of that. You need a hit, Badger. You need a hit.
Yes, sir. You know,
you on that white girl.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't have one of them either, so.
Hey, Rico. You know when you say stuff like that, Badger may not know what you're talking about.
I honestly don't.
No, he has no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, when you say, I say, Badger don't know what you're talking about, man. Badger don't know what Badger don't know.
That white girl is that little white powdery substance.
Oh.
They call it nose candy.
Yeah, I don't think I can handle that. I think you're talking about an actual human being.
When you said that, Badger said, ain't got down one of them either. I said, oh, Lord, Badger.
I started laughing immediately because I knew Badger didn't know what he was
I knew. That's why I said, oh, Lord.
He thought I was talking about baby powder, didn't he?
Something that involves lotion, I'll just say that. It's all about that misinformation.
Yeah.
And I'm so tired of it. You know, the more, you know, me and Leonard's talked and stuff, you know, and Leonard's been learning a lot from me about the Native American stuff because there's so much that's not on the news. You know, yeah, they're making this it's not military force, like this well, What's it called, Leonard? What that one lady's doing up in the office right now?
Oh, okay. Like I say, as a black person, now I'm talking to a Native American brother, and I'm trying to get him to understand the significance of a Native American individual being appointed to head the Department of the Interior, which is directly under the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Mm-hmm.
This is why Native Americans need to look at who was just put in that position. If there are issues in the Native American community that need to be addressed, this is definitely a great time to become active.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, they actually have a website
Mm-hmm.
now and everything where they're actually trying to cut down and try to stop all of the taking of children and women and, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
You know, and the only reason I'm bringing it up is because I want to show how misinformed so many people are. You know, people think that Native Americans has this reservation, they have all this money, they have casinos and stuff like that. But there's documentaries out there and all kinds of stuff that shows you what people deeper on reservations actually live like.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hoping that the American people would have a wake up call when they saw what they did with the oil pipeline and how they treated the Native Americans' land. You know, my brothers and sisters of Lakota. Wait, was it Lakota? I don't remember which tribe name it is. There's a lot of tribes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But, you know, they have private militia, you know, trying to protect it and stuff like that. It's already had oil leaks into the rivers up there or over there. And the American government ain't doing nothing about it. So, like, yes, I'm happy to see that lady up there and she's focusing on the murders, the kidnappings, you know, the sex trafficking, you know, and all that stuff. But I'm still waiting for, you know, for them to get help on the reses, you know, better homes, better health care, quit selling alcohol to them, you know, because alcohol will kill a person.
Mm-hmm.
They lose who they are drinking that alcohol. The DNA just doesn't mix. It really doesn't. Me being an alcoholic myself, I can vouch for it. Yeah, I have Irish and Scottish genes, and I can drink. Used to be able to drink with the best of them, but it messed with me on another level. And it took me, my wife, talking and discussing for me to get off of it. And then I realized what it was doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so don't trust everything you see on the news because a lot of times they're not showing everything.
Exactly.
And don't just believe one point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Research it, look for answers, you know, go experience it for yourself. If you go on a res and you want to know what it's really like, you need permission because you might disappear if you go too deep on a res because they don't tolerate that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what you see around the casinos is more than likely not going to be what's really going on out there.
Exactly. Let me go to Donald Toussaint. Donald, you back with us? Donald Toussaint, you back?
I was trying to find the mute button.
Okay. Tim Scott said something, and I played it. Did you hear what I played? What he said?
No, I didn't hear it, but you don't have to tell me too much about Tim Scott.
Mm-hmm. Well, he has his idea, and this one I'm gonna play it for you. I'm gonna play it for you. Play it one more time, and I want you to hear what he said, and tell me what you think about exactly what you think about what he said. It's queuing up right now.
You know, Raheem, it's sad because he probably could guess it without you playing it. Ain't that sad?
Exactly. Here you go.
America is not a racist country. Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country. Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country.
Go ahead, Toussaint. Talk to me.
Well, can I say it the way I want to say it?
Go ahead. Hey, this is my conversation today, man. Go ahead, say it.
Okay. If it's not a racist country, what the hell kind of country it is?
I ain't know he was gonna go all the way that way. Ooh, Lord. Let it
I didn't mean to say it like that.
Let it wind him back in. Let it wind him back in. That do something.
That's my elder. I can't wind him back in.
Go ahead,
I'm sorry. But no. I'm pretty sure that if you have a private conversation with him, he says, I got a whole lot of textbook working for me.
Mm-hmm.
Or I got a lot of black friends. One of them was at my house the other day.
Mm.
That's what they all say. I don't know what it is. I mean, if it's not, then what is it? Because this country is the most, if it's, okay, let's say it's prejudice or racism, which one is that the same thing? Is prejudice and racism the same thing, or is some differences?
I think that there is some differences in it.
And then not conscious.
What?
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what that was.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, and I didn't mean to. For the viewing audience and the listening audience, I didn't go off like that.
No. No, you're fine. But I think there is some differences in being racist and prejudiced. I think there is some differences. Rico, what would you say to that? I see you
Huge
shaking.
difference. Huge difference. Being prejudiced is not a system, but racism is a system. Just like capitalism, just like so many more isms. You know what I'm saying? That system put in place it affects so many different aspects of survival, just existence. It's a practice. You know, everybody has some type of biases or preferences.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You look at the opposite end of it. You want to say, okay, you biased or you are prejudiced against that. Well, you know, I have a preference for butter pecan ice cream.
Yeah.
I was prejudiced against.
Don't talk about butter pecan ice cream, man. Why you gonna do it like that?
I was prejudiced against chocolate ice cream when I was young. I didn't like chocolate ice cream. You know, so I mean, you know, that preference doesn't have as much of an impact on a person's livelihood as that system that can dictate where you live. If you get justice, if you get fair pay, even if you can walk through the front door, if you can walk down the street safely. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. That system is totally different. So, you know, everybody's going to have some type of way that they discriminate. It's human nature. You know what I'm saying? I mean, dogs don't eat certain food. Then some dogs will eat cat food. Think about it. I mean, you know, just everybody has taste, everybody has preferences. But when it comes to systems, that system put in place, that's why, you know, me and Leonard, we differ on this. I hear people say all the time, I actually had an argument with a white woman yesterday about the same thing. She wanted to say that all races can be racist. I broke it down to her. I said, well, you show me a system put in place where a black person can control the outcome of a white person's livelihood. I said, show me a system put in place where black privilege can exist. And you really can't show a whole lot of systems put in place that compares to the system of white supremacy, white privilege, the oppression and the abuse, the murder, the lynch mobs. How many times have you seen black lynch mobs go into a jail and take people out and the police just sit back and watch? How many times have you seen white people need laws to make it okay for them to drink out of water fountain or come to use a restroom? How many times did you see a white person or white people get burned off and ran off of a bus from black people that didn't want them to have equal rights or to vote? See, it's a whole system and a whole lot of actions went on in that system in the past that black people couldn't contribute to because we couldn't oppress and stop the vote of a white person. We couldn't go and make them tell us how many bees or jelly beans was in this jar before they had to vote. We had to go and fight for just the right to be created equal, have the same rights to vote, to not be treated like animals, to live in peace and harmony, or just to be safe. So I'll never agree with the fact that a black person can be racist, but I do agree that a black person can be prejudiced. And can you blame them?
And see, with the prejudice, people don't understand is to prejudge something. It's like you're going to prejudge it, and that has nothing to do with the power structure that goes into what racism or racists would have. Ready to go to Toya with a T. We have her back with us. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
We have to always be aware of it. One thing that's different about this particular administration is the focus on racial inequality over all facets of life. And so what's positive is the fact that we see how things change.
Leonard, is it way past due that we have an administration like this?
I'm not going to worry about what somebody ain't done, but I'm really going to be concerned about what they're doing. See, ain't done is a conversation for people who ain't going to do nothing. So what we have to do is when we see racism.
Is it a breath of fresh air?
Well, I mean, I don't think I would put it in that terms. I believe we headed on the right track.
Okay, good.
I believe that we can establish a continuity of democratic leadership, we would see a lot more change. But we have to be aggressive. I mean, we got to be more aggressive than we've ever been in terms of seizing power.
Let me step in one more time, and I don't want to keep disturbing you, man. But I witnessed a conversation. I wasn't a part of the conversation. I witnessed a conversation where it was two people talking. There was a lot older than I was. I think it was about in the 70s or whatever. And two of my Caucasian brothers, two of my Caucasian brothers was two guys, and they were saying that Trump was on the right path. He was doing some great things, and he just didn't get the chance to. He had to go in the right direction. He just didn't get a chance to finish what he started. And I was sitting out, like I said, it wasn't my conversation. And if they had they invited me into the conversation, I would have told them something. But because it wasn't my conversation, I didn't say. I just listened. But they really felt they were having a conversation, and both of them was walking hand in hand. Well, he just didn't get a chance to finish what he started. Right.
I mean, that's very common. There's a lot of people that feel that way. Hell, looking at the numbers, almost half of the country felt that way. It ain't like it was a clean sweep this past election. The election was still extremely close.
Yeah.
So you still dealing with about 50-50. So you don't hear those conversations. That's why you ought to be fighting harder. You ought to be taking everybody in your house to vote.
Yeah.
You ought to be taking your friends to vote. If you got family members who can't get out to vote, y'all got to do that this time. Because what they don't came back and said is about, no more drop off. They don't want no drop off boxes, no more early voting days, nothing that makes it more convenient to vote. So we have to make sure that we're doing things so we can vote. Well, they should have done this. I'm not worried about who should have did. Well, I know what I'm getting ready to do right now. Do you know what you're getting ready to do right now? Do you know what you're getting ready to do right now? No, let's do that. And see what fruit comes from that instead of sitting around worried about what didn't prosper. You got to remember, man, there was a situation where we couldn't vote legally. And then you had to have a whole war. The reason why Badger's having the issues where he is because he's living in a Confederate state. And we all know that like in Georgia, fighting for Medicaid and Medicare assistance for the state of Georgia. And here we is with a Republican governor that's blocking receiving the money to help people in need that have on the streets that can't afford health insurance. We needed Medicaid expansion. Medicaid expansion for people who couldn't afford to buy it from the market. This is why affordable health care was so great, because now people sitting around and don't remember you used to couldn't get health care unless you had a job. You either had to be employed or be on food stamps or something to get health care. So we have to understand how this thing works, and every black person can tell you, oh, you can get out of poverty if you want to. The key is education. But now, if you believe you sing and dance better than anybody else, try that out.
How Donna said.
But do understand, I'm not with these people who these hopeless people.
Hey, how Donna said, I want to what?
How that gonna work out for you? Let's just see how it work out for you.
Yeah.
You can keep preaching independence and everything else and blah blah blah, but at the end of the day, what fruit did it bear for you? Since you didn't want to go, since school ain't for you, since listening to somebody ain't for you, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not doubting the fact that you may be incredibly talented, but that's something we should see.
Now watch. No, watch this. Toyota T.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let me ask you a question. What we gonna do about your brother?
Well, ain't nothing.
Your
Not touching either.
Your brother Tim Scott.
What about him?
He said that America is really not a racist country. After the Biden speech, he had his counter. They put him on the TV to counter. They selected him to counter what Biden was saying. They handpicked him, Tim Scott, out of South Carolina. We want you to go up there and speak out and tell him what it is, and tell him why this man is wrong. Tell him why he can't lead this country. Tell him why he's making such a huge mistake. And one of the things that came out of his mouth was, hear me clearly. America is not a racist country. That's your brother.
Yeah, the country now, it's the people in it. And the majority of them going to be the white ones. But, you know, hey, the country don't care. You know, the country is land. It's the people that make the country. It's the people that give it the bad rep. It's KKK. They're giving it a bad rep. I mean, if you want me to be petty about it, you know, but listen. We already know that this is a matrix. We already know that that's what they're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like companies. When you work for a company, certain things a manager can't say to you, right? But you already know when these cats are trying to be funny when you want somebody's job and they really just trying to slick play you within the guidelines, right? Because I mean that's the portrayal they're supposed to put out there. They want us to keep staying in the matrix. But look at what's happening. If I keep smacking you in your face, and I'm gonna tell you I didn't smack you, and you're gonna believe it, then of course let's roll with it. And that's something that America has always done. America ain't never been made racist. They were saying that God made them do all that. Well, yeah, God gonna do the rest of this too.
And Raheem, the memes are already out. You know what I'm saying on Tim Scott?
Yeah,
because everybody know him. Everybody know how he roll. I'm looking at one meme right now. It says Senator Tim Scott's blind uncle affirms it. You know what I'm saying? And it's my man Dave. Picture of my man Dave Chappelle doing Clayton Bigsby.
Exactly.
That's why Dave Chappelle's show was so awesome, because it was real satire, and it went directly at certain things, especially race-related things, and how things happen. Here's a blind man who was raised to believe that he was white. That's the whole premise of the character. He an old blind black man.
Want to see my face?
Who thinks he's white, and the white people in town didn't want to break his heart and tell him, right?
That Tim Scott.
Yeah, and it was so funny because part of that sketch is when the blind man realizes his white wife loves him even though he's black. He say he had to divorce that Ian lover. He had to divorce her. So see how ridiculous.
Yeah.
How ridiculous racism really is. But it has been so profitable for some.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to attack. That's why people protest and boycott and things like that, because they're trying to get a lick in everywhere they can to fight against this beast. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm hitting him in the head, I need you to be stabbing him in the chest. I need you to be wrapping his legs up. So whatever you're doing, long as you fighting that enemy, you on my side.
How do you, and Badger, I'm coming to you, how do you speak to the decency in people to help get past this racism thing? Badger?
What, Bob?
How do you speak to the decency in people to help get past this racism thing?
How?
Yes.
Man, that's I mean, I so I just posted the thing up there talking about the lieutenant governor of North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but how do we get past it? How do we speak to the decency?
For one, I think we need to get people like that out of power across the board.
Mm-hmm.
To start actually educating people, and I think we need to start in schools.
Mm-hmm.
Because educating people like on what I'm about to be 35,
Mm-hmm.
and all my life, I've shared with y'all what I've learned. Leonard's over here teaching me about things about taxes and stuff like that I didn't even know was available for someone that's in the situation I'm in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I remember being in school and they would teach you how to write checks, write cursive. They taught you politically correct history. You know, I think history shouldn't be so biased. And actually talk about, you know, how things are run.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think them taking out morals and respect out of school hurt most of the population. And to me, it boils down to education.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it just causes so many issues. Like when people that have no idea whatsoever, you know, they've never been in let's take someone that's middle class, right?
Mm-hmm.
They go bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to file for Medicaid and all that stuff. They probably have no idea whatsoever how to apply. They go up there, they're trying to get help.
Mm-hmm.
If they were treated like I was treated, that's not going to be much, if any at all, other than here's these forms, fill them out the best you can.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll have someone call you, and that's about it. Instead of actually sitting down and educating them, you know, how it works, you know, through the whole process and everything else. Like, there's so many areas where people honestly have no idea what's available to the American public.
Mm-hmm.
They all most of the time, to me, it feels like they don't want us to know. And if you start doing too much research, you paint a target on your back. And they go, so many people don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like they're afraid to lose power if the American populace actually got educated.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. And Minister Neal, good morning. So how you doing this morning?
Morning. What's
Look
going
at,
on?
hey, look at here, man. I need to ask you this question, man. What we gonna do about your brother, man?
I don't have no money.
What we gonna do about your brother?
Who my brother?
Tim Scott, the net.
Oh man, that's your first cousin. I thought you. Yeah, that's
He
your
talk-
first cousin.
He
Go
talking.
ahead and,
He
hey,
made a-
look at go ahead and tell the
he
people
made
the
a
truth.
comment. He made a comment talking about America is really not a racist country. Now,
Hey,
let's speak on that for a second. How in the world could he come to that conclusion, being a black man here?
hey, bro. Maybe in his world, bro. I mean, when he wake up, you know, that's what I can tell him. I mean, hey, you know, I mean, but you gotta understand something. Is that you got the Tim Scotts, the Bernie Jones, and what's the other guy name? Oh my God, Paris. Somebody help me out. Paris. What's the guy last name to be on? Oh my God, I'm looking right at you, a little bitty fella. Those cats, man, they're like, I mean, the Candace Owens of the world. I'm telling people, man, there's really no weight to that, bro. I mean, I don't know why we even giving that any burn. You know, that guy, man, that's his opinion. I look at it like that's your opinion, and God bless you.
Mm-hmm.
But we all know the truth. We all know the truth. That's as simple as that. We know we know the truth. We really talked about that last night. How look at us. We're in our 50s, and it's so poor right now. How we know we're gonna make it home?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I mean, them kind of cats like that, man. I don't really got no burn. I don't get that no burn, bro. None. Them kind of people, man. God bless them. When they wake up, that's what Stacey Dash did. Now all of a sudden she talking her and Bernie Jones, all them. Bernie Jones was Mr. Donald Trump 2 years ago. He said that, he was lying to my he did this for the black HBCUs, but he forget he didn't. He didn't. I tell people, do your research, do your real research. Don't let the people tell you anything. So I mean, God bless him, bro. That's all right. God bless him. That's all I can tell you. God bless him.
Good deal. Good deal. Now, Rico, is he just blind, or better question? Why do you think they strategically picked him to come out to Biden and say the things that he said?
Because they know he's willing to do anything to be accepted into their club. He want to be that one person that can prove that a black man can make it over there, and those people, all of them ain't bad people. Now he's probably more willing to want to prove and accept them than to accept the black community that he comes from. If he comes from a black community, I mean, he actually comes off as somebody that may have just didn't fit in from where he came from. Probably even in his own family, he probably just did not fit in with nobody. He just was the oddball. And it's because his values, like I said, sometimes you can look at the progress of people but not understand how they got that progress, how they came about it. Or sometimes you can understand it and overlook it. Sort of going back to what Badger was saying a second ago. I believe if they taught history with a humane and moral eye and held people accountable, then the stories wouldn't be so acceptable. And we wouldn't just brush off so many brutal and barbaric situations that happened in the past. It's just something that happened. When you talk about how America was discovered, that should never be a proud moment when you know how they came about getting control of America, taking America from the people that were already here. But we still celebrate it. That's dysfunctional to me. I don't care how the school teaches it. Now we know what happened to the Native Americans. We know about the blankets with smallpox. We know about all the manipulation and the backstabbing and the sabotage. Everything that they did to get control of this country and the inhumane acts on not only black people but Native Americans. We know this. We know about the Trail of Tears. We know about Andrew Jackson saying forget the Supreme Court. We know about people being traitors coming from the main seat. We know about this, but it's not being taught. We still have this idea that America is just this great land of prosperity and democracy. But we killed. People got killed. There was a lot of lives taken. People manipulated, and it was very inhumane. So if you teach history, you teach it the right way. Like when I received history, I was getting kicked out of class a lot because I was like, wait a minute, you just can't scoot on past that. What happened to those people? Oh, wait a minute. How they gonna come over here and just start wars with all these different tribes, man? First they were trying to teach them how to survive. Why they think they better? Why they think the European way of life is better than these natives, but these natives been making it this long? What made them think that they could show them something better? So I look at that and I'm like, man, you know what? That's inhumane. It's immoral. But that is not what's being taught. So I think when we actually start teaching history the way it should be taught, accurately, and out of reality of what it really was, then we can start making this country be what it really is supposed to be. Because there's some atonement got to go on, and there's some acknowledgement got to go on about how barbaric this country was, the founding and its existence, and how it's maintained. And I like what Leonard said earlier too. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to be aware about what happened in the past, but with the people that we have in office right now, it is best to not think about what didn't get done or how late it's coming, but to now to get on board and start making sure we start getting where it needs to be. Yeah, putting it where it needs to be. It's about progress now.
Exactly. Don Tucson, talk to me, brother.
Well, I don't really know what to tell you. Because that, you know, we always, you know, there are certain people that they pick up to make their own point. You know, they wouldn't, you know, like Miss Candace. I dare not. I try to not say nothing negative towards her, but if they want to have certain people speak on their behalf for us, they'll pick somebody like Don King.
Wow.
Candace. And they say, you know what? They always want to bring up certain things. So anyway, I find it. I just might have to admit I find it difficult to comment on certain things because I don't care. I'm kind of like Leonard. I don't care if they're racist or not. I don't prejudice. It don't make me no difference. As long as they leave me alone. Don't bother me. Don't bring that to me because I'm gonna keep moving, whether you like it or not.
Wow.
You can't block it. You can't stop it. I don't get into it. I don't fool with it. You know, because I know how to deal. I've been dealing with it for years. You know, when a lot of people were marching with segregation and stuff like that, we was already going to the school. It was right across the street from the house. Why not go to that school? It's right there. So we was going. So can you imagine little kids, 12 of them, from kindergarten to high school, going to the school across the street? They were, you know, them folks was raised in hell.
Yeah.
So I'm used to it. We just raised hell with them.
Exactly. Leonard, talk to me. Are you frozen over there, Leonard? Okay, there you go.
No, I'm gonna tell you what's so funny. People think when I sit still, I'm froze. What people, and that's why I got into education. It's because my goal was to be able to educate my people, regardless if there was a school or anything else. I have to educate my people on the truth. Wherever it is, whether I'm doing it in the community, whether I'm doing it in the university, anywhere, I have to speak truth to people. And I have to be educated about it. And I'll sit here and have a conversation with somebody, and I can tell they don't read, they don't know nothing but what's in front of their face. They don't know how to cook, they don't know how to do nothing, but they know how to eat. So it's trying to get our people now to understand that they have been brainwashed. And to get them to realize that the opportunity has been here for so long for you now because of everything your ancestors went through. Why you're not choosing to be better is a personal issue. Lack of education is directly correlated to poverty. So if you keep getting kicked out of school, not graduating, or what have you, you're going to find yourself living in poverty. People say they poor and all this time, but you know what? If you 40 and you've been making hit records since you was 18, you ain't been poor that long. You've been, half these young guys you see now been wealthy the majority of their lives. You understand what I'm saying? But I don't want to hear no rapper rapping to me about being broke because he ain't broke.
Let me ask you this. What do you say to the person or the people that says that I want to be successful, I'm going to be successful, it's just education is just not for me, I'm gonna take another path, but I'm gonna get there?
If that's your path, stay on your path. But a lot of times you wind up on drugs, pregnant, living in the projects.
You painted with a big brush there, brother.
I'm just saying, I know a lot of people that had great intentions, but for some reason, they thought being in the street was more attractive to them.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you don't have but a few years. I mean, think about it. Like I tell my son, you're 21. You can make a mistake now, but it don't have to determine the rest of your life.
Exactly.
You know, if you made a mistake, how you gonna get up? That's what I'm mostly about. I'm not trying to make you comfortable laying on your belly. You heard me? See, some people want you to get comfortable laying on your belly. and doing nothing but complaining about everything else. What did you expect from an 8th grade education? And these young guys, when you used to talk to people about being young and getting pregnant, now what you gonna do? Oh, I'm gonna get a job. Really, you just gonna get a job? Oh, okay, go and get your job.
And see, and the thing about, I'm going to go to Toy with a T, but the thing about it too is times has changed so much. It's a different structure now, because I know back in the day, I've talked to some people that say they became very successful and they only had like a 4th or 5th grade education. But you got to understand, the times are different. They got into some kind of a trade. They started doing different things, bricklaying and all kinds of different things that afforded them an opportunity where they could make it through. But now you gotta have a piece of paper.
But everyone that did that worked hard as hell to get where they're at.
Yeah,
and so this is the thing. You can do it, but you're going to have to work much, much harder. And this is why it's so hard to be successful that way.
I can agree with that, because in their story, they talk about how hard they had to work in order to make it.
It's like a lot of times our people make excuses. I had to sell drugs. Why you had to sell drugs? To feed my family. No, first thing you did is went out and bought 30-inch rims. That's what you did with that money. And them gold chains and them fancy clothes and hanging out and throwing money at women that's naked. That's why you sell drugs. So you can live that lifestyle that's quick money in your hand, cash in your pocket every day. And the customers definitely keep coming.
And where's the biggest addiction? Is it the person that you're selling to, or you to the money?
Like I said, you can be a successful drug dealer.
Yeah. But again, I asked the question: which one is more addicted? The person you're selling to, or you as a drug dealer addicted to the money that you're making? That's pretty heavy there. Toy, you want to talk to me?
Yeah, no, I don't want my money like that. I don't want my money like that. Certain things I just could never do for money, like stripping. You know what I'm saying? I could never strip because I never wanted my money like that. A couple of things I just can't do. I can't sell kids. You know what I'm saying? I can't get nobody to kill them, sell their organs. You know what I'm saying? I can't sell drugs. Certain things I just can't do because of, the process that comes along with it. You know what I mean? And I don't think that we really pay attention. I think that's one of the tricks that they use. Everybody got a price. But, I'm so mature now that I'm not turning on my people for money. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I'm black. I'm a black female. I love my black people. And you know what? We don't make all the right choices in decisions. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to let you come hurt anybody. I stand for black first, but you're not going to come hurt a human. I cannot do anything that is of ill will to a human and be okay with that anymore, no matter what the color. So now selling drugs, anything that is not positive activity to their life, I'm not willing to do that to the state of humanity anymore. You know what I'm saying? But some people are. You know what I'm saying? Some people, they like to be infiltrators of their own kind, or infiltrators of humanity for money. You know what I'm saying? That's okay, but I also think that that's a part on what is the problem with the state of America. We're willing to be traders and infiltrators of humanity for $1 amount, and I'm just not there yet. You know what I'm saying? But hey, Raheem, keep doing what you're doing, man, because the show, awesome topics, awesome things like this. I love you, man. I love the team. I love the conversation, man. Again, I believe that we are delivering people and setting them free, man. So y'all keep it up. Don't stop.
Absolutely. Badger, how do you grade a drug dealer? Are they some of the worst people, or is it just somebody just trying to make it?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, everything that's out there right now in the world is there for a reason. Do I agree with it? No. I wish we could do away with it. But I have more respect for a drug dealer that has very strict rules of who they sell to than I do someone that'll sell it to an 8-year-old kid. So,
so basically, what you said, you respect a drug dealer that has morals.
Yeah. Because to me, if you look at it, I would rather a person that's stuck on them drugs not be on them at all. But we can't help everyone. You know, some people are going to continue doing what they do until they finally pass away. Because that's just who they choose to be. But I'd rather them get their stuff from people that are also worried about their well-being than I do a person that's, you know, going to give it to them knowing that they're going to hurt somebody else. Because I've seen drug dealers flat out go, I'm not selling you anything because you're going to go out there and hurt people, or you're going to go out there and give them the kids. You know, and
what do you say to the people? What do you say to the people, Badger? And I'm going to go to Minister Neil as well. But what do you say to the people that say if you're a drug dealer, you don't have a lot of morals?
Then tell it to the people. Tell it to the ones that are out there that's actually, you know, that saved lives. I don't agree with it. I'd rather them not sell it.
Somebody got something going on here. Hold on now.
Yet, I would rather have someone with those kinds of morals and respect for other human life selling it than a lot of the ones that are out there right now.
Okay. Minister Neil,
if that makes sense.
No, go ahead, finish your thought, bro.
I was like, if that makes sense, because I know what I'm sounding. I don't want to sound like I'm contradicting myself, because I'm not. I'm not trying to. It's I don't want to see it. I don't want to see people stuck on those kinds of things. Yet at the same time, look at all the people that are addicted to alcohol that won't step away from it. And where do you get alcohol from? The grocery store. So to me, you know, the people that are out there doing the drugs are in a similar situation, but you can't go buy it in a grocery store. But at least in the grocery store, you know, you have to be a certain age, you have to have your license and things like that. If a drug dealer is following those same kind of guidelines, I'd rather see that than the ones that just money hungry, I guess is a good word.
Okay, that's good. President, what do you say to that, man? Who's more addicted? The person that's actually buying the drugs or the ones that's selling it to them being addicted to the money?
I don't know, because it depends on the person. You know, I can't really say. I mean, I can't really, because I don't know what the circumstances is. And I'm hearing everybody talk. But one thing it's funny because, you know, I was reflecting back when I used to be on the block, and you know, and things I used to do and things I was involved in. And one of the things that I always kept to myself is that I didn't know where I was going and how I was going to get there. But somebody came and got me. You know, I was fortunate that one of the guys that went to my church, like, man, you're decent in football, man. You know, you need to come on and, you know, you need to think about, you know, playing some ball. I didn't want to, but he got me off the block. I mean, it was through divine intervention that somebody came and got me. So I can't really say what's more and what's not more. I mean, I know some brothers out there. I hear people talk, but some of them people really are out there selling dope to pay bills. I stood beside them.
Yeah.
Their mama strung out. Their daddy, their grandmama just got a Social Security check. I mean, it's what it is. For me, do I sympathize with them? Yeah, a lot, because I used to be them. But by God's grace, I'm not them anymore. So when I talk to them, I can say, hey, man, I used to be you, but this is what I did. And this is how I went about it. I'm not going to tell you what to do because that's your life. But I can just tell you what was successful for me. If you want to incorporate some of those things in your life, that's well and good. But if not, hey, you know, God bless you. I'm not gonna sit back and tell them they bad people, because a lot of them, they not bad people. It's like when people I hate when people talk about the ghetto in the hood. I know I got some of my dearest friends are from where I grew up. That don't make them bad people from where they live. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes we gotta stop stereotyping these people and making it seem like you do that because you disagree with it. I feel like you bad. No, you don't know the real circumstances. I'm gonna tell you, I know them. Hey, I'm gonna tell you, crack don't fed a lot of people. They put a lot of hot meals in their belly. A lot. And I'm not talking about something I heard. I'm talking about what I visually see with my own eyes.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to do it. Now you talking for me, I didn't really have to do it, but I did it because something that somebody said. I was chasing them skirts. I was chasing them girls.
Mm-hmm.
But that was me. That was my motivation. But a lot of cats out here, I'm telling you, man. I got some brothers, man. They don't becoming some real tough. And the thing about it, they didn't want to really turn their mother in for selling with the food stamps because then they're gonna break up the family.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many different scenarios and different circumstances that goes on with this thing, man. Sometimes I hear people talk, I'm like, man, wow. Yeah. I mean, some people have some hard times, some very hard times.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only result they have. I mean, you 13, who gonna hire you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm serious. Thank you. I'm thinking. I started to look out at 9. I got a picture of me. Somebody sent me a picture of me at 9 years old, and I was standing on the block.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know what I was doing, but and this brought me back. Like, man, I started at 9 years old, and you gotta think back in them days. You talking about 78, 79? Shoot, $100 was like $1 million to me.
Yeah, that's
you know
good.
how much I could do with $100? Come on. Okay.
Back in 1947, there was a lot of money. Rico, what's on your? I see. Back in 1947, there was a lot of money, brother. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, you know you be shooting a slick one out there, man.
I just want to let y'all know I'm about to go because I gotta go take my shot, man. So, hey, man, y'all double salute, man. Y'all have a good day, man. Hey, much love to all of y'all guys, man.
Hey, Minister, you see, he tried to take you back to Roswell just then, man.
Yeah, he all right. He all right. He mad because of what happened last night. I ain't gonna tell y'all because I don't want to embarrass him. All I'm gonna say is that I caught him. I caught him. Then he tried to run it. He tried to run lanes. It can't go that fast. So
I don't care who tell it. Those get told.
I caught it. I caught it by the pocket, but I ain't gonna embarrass him because his wife might be watching. Sabrina, I love you, girl. You know I double salute to you too.
Look here. I don't care who tell it. Loans get told. Well, look at, and you just helping it lie out like crazy. Yeah. What?
All right, y'all.
What did happen? We got a super running back last night. That's what did happen.
You talking to me?
Yes, sir.
You know, I agree with what he just said, man. I've seen some situations where people got into selling drugs for, it's crazy to say this, but for reasons to progress, legitimate reasons to progress. And when I tell you it changed the entire directions, not only of them, but some of their family members, it actually put their families in position to gain more access, and not only get more access, but to get a little bit more respect in the hood, in the streets, from the community that disrespected them. Because, you know, sometimes you might have certain families in the community that the entire family is shunned.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now all of a sudden you got 9 or 10 brothers and sisters, and all of them been messed up and looked upon by other black people as less than. Then all of a sudden you get the last 2 that probably come along, and everybody in the street respect them because they got that money. Remember I said yesterday, you got that money, you know that boy knows something. He got that money though. So they got that money. But they remember how everybody treated them. They wasn't studying the lifestyle. They lived the lifestyle to get the access to people that they needed, but they had a whole nother mind frame. See, they were thinking with this. They said, you know what? Well, if y'all need candy and fireworks and firecrackers to get y'all attention, I'm gonna give you the candy. I'm gonna give you the fireworks and the firecrackers. I'm gonna do that, but I got a whole nother agenda because I'm trying to change my whole family's lifestyle around. I'm trying to the image that y'all have put on my family, it ain't gonna last no more. From now on, when y'all look at the Johnsons or the Smiths, y'all gonna uphold us with some type of respect. Y'all ain't gonna look down on us no more. So I have seen people that took that route because they seen how easy it was, and they also knew the business model, but they didn't have the access maybe that the same white people we went to school had the access to. They didn't have parents and friends of parents that could guide them down the right road or open up doors or even create jobs. Matter of fact, I just seen a situation happen this past year in my city where a job was created for a young white man. He doesn't have to go out and work or earn the money like anybody else. They just gave him a platform. and they're paying him. And in the process, it's a win-win. He's going to build his image up so he can run for mayor against the young black woman that had all this momentum. So they just build a platform. You know what? Privilege. So some black people that have sold drugs did recognize that privilege. And they understood that them drugs was coming over here through the white person. So what they did, they did what they had to do. And they asked for forgiveness in the end. They said, you know what, man, I'm gonna ask for my forgiveness. I deal with this on Judgment Day. But then some found a way to just only serve the other people. All my clientele, white folk. I heard that too. So you know, you have some people that have a level of morals when it comes to selling drugs. It's just that they took that option. Maybe they played the game that a lot of white people played that actually took the same route. I've actually met a lot of white people in the past that I knew that owned furniture stores. Then they later on to tell me, you know what, I got my start in. I got my start selling weed. What? But you're a preacher now? You got how many churches? Oh, you telling me that all your sons set up now, so when one of them own the store for about 5 or 6 years, then they'll sell it to the next one and go open up another one in another city. So now you just open up a family franchise of swimming pool builders from weed money. Reverend such and such.
Yeah. It happened.
I heard that story myself at 19 years old. I had a white man tell me this story. He was a preacher. The last thing I heard, I expected to hear him tell me, because I didn't ask and I didn't have a clue, was that he got his start from selling marijuana.
And a lot of times, Leonard, we look down on different people when they start a certain way. And we're not condoning anything that we're saying. We're not condoning, but we just show, this is Black Conversations. We're having a conversation on it. The stripper. The girl that's in the clubs dancing every night. Her motivation is not to go out there and dance in front of the men to naked, but her motivation is to be able to stay in school. Because maybe she ran into some situations where financially she couldn't continue being in school. And so somebody whispered in her ear and they put the apple on the table and she bit it. Is she a bad person?
Yeah, I like to say, I don't usually make judgment. I don't usually make judgment calls on people like that. You do whatever it is that you do to get whatever you ain't got to prove nothing to me. As a matter of fact, I don't really want to hear about it because that's not my concern. That's your choice. And if that's what you choose, that's what you choose. I mean, who am I to tell you you can't do this, that, or the other? But I ain't trying to help you do nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't glorify either or. It's how you feel about it. That's what you know, it's like a lot of people that make a choice and then come to you and want you to love what they chose. That's not, you know, that don't make sense. Why are you trying to convince me you got to do what you're doing or whatever? Like I said, I chose not to do it. I mean, I could have sold drugs too. But, you know, I know a lot of drug dealers. I don't have no problem people selling dope. But when I want my dope, I go right over there to CVS. I can get it. I can go get it at Walgreens. I can go get it at Kroger. I can go get their dope. Wait a minute. Then come to find out, y'all putting what we sell in y'all stuff. Come on, man. They just letting some people be dope dealers and not letting other people be dope dealers.
It's a partnership. It's a partnership.
You know what I'm saying? And when we make all these excuses, I'm not the excuse person, remember? So if you decide to sell drugs, that's what you choose. I have lots of friends that sold dope. You know, I'm not well, you shouldn't do that, or you shouldn't, man, that's what you chose. If you believe that's how you got to make it, then go ahead. Because Tim Scott believed he got to make it the way he making it.
But so at the end of the day, be able to swallow the pill that you're taking, though.
There you go. That's your business. At the end of the day, can you pay the consequences? I don't care what you choose to do.
Be able to swallow
I'm
that
not
pill.
trying to force how I live on you. And I would hope you wouldn't try to do that to me. But don't sit next to me and talk about how you messed your life up. Don't expect me to help you because you chose to do what you did.
Again, I say be able to swallow that pill. Badger,
Right.
does that make her a bad person if she decides to trip to make it through college?
No, I was laughing so hard with what Leonard was saying. No, I gotta chime in on what Leonard was saying though. I mean, all a drug dealer needs to do is go to college, so that way he can get
But
that.
basically, you can get a whole. Think about it. What you threw my friends in jail for, now you letting your sons and stuff sell the weed.
Well, their sons also got in debt for having to go to college.
Exactly. You know, there's an argument everywhere.
Yeah. Because it's true. Every single medication that that people take has come from the earth. The only difference is, did they decide to actually do it natural, or did they decide to make it genetically in a lab? Or synthetic, not genetic, synthetic.
Yeah.
You know, but if you take that principle, you can apply it to almost every single situation. You know, the stripper, the drug dealer, the football player,
Tim Scott,
Mark Robinson.
You're not liking Tim Scott too much.
Never have.
Man, Mark Robertson to me is probably worse than Tim Scott, because as I was looking at his stuff, he showed up, and that's the lieutenant governor of North Carolina, and he pretty much downgraded Michelle Obama. You know, calling her a leftist and everything else, and you know, saying that he was glad Obama left and took his boyfriend with him, and I was like, oh no, he didn't. Like, so I'm just, people in power right now, man, I'm so tilted over a lot of crap that they're saying and what's going on, and for some ungodly reason, people want these folks in power, and I don't get it. My brain just can't understand it.
Exactly. 10 o'clock on the dot. We're going to get on out of here, but I want to go to Toy You with a T. But I'm going to tell you something. I don't know how people can't see how Michelle is banging to me. I think Barack did real good. I think he did real good. I think,
you know, that's why nobody could pull my, you know, we talk about those things in these black issues. When people were talking about black has always been beautiful to me. I mean, I don't understand how some people, you know, how some people say they don't like being the blackness, or, you know, whatever that foolishness was about black is ugly, black is, I'm looking right at it. How can it not be beautiful? And I'm looking right at it. Imagine a human being in their heart sees that beauty, but don't want to acknowledge it. That's a miserable person. That's why them folks so mean and so nasty. Because they looking at it with their own eyes and see how beautiful it is. But they've been taught that they shouldn't feel like that.
Because I'm gonna tell you, to me, it's just me talking. We're to go to Toy You with a T. But Michelle, the top shelf. Michelle, one of them top shelf.
We don't need your fantasizing. You know what? Y'all fantasizing right about now. Y'all need to stop all that. Yeah, I love Michelle Obama. That's the most beautiful thing ever been in the White House. Now, don't get it twisted.
Yes, sir.
Bad sister. That's a bad sister.
It ain't gonna never be the same. It ain't gonna never be the same.
To reach up there to the top shelf, get that one. Got to get on your tiptoes, boy. She way on up there.
I want to use my last few minutes to let you know. You know, I really appreciated how beautiful black women were as I was in DeKalb County. And when I moved down here, y'all don't understand, man. I had never seen black judges and things like that. And so I'm in DeKalb County and hear this beautiful woman sitting on that stand. Cuz lock me up. I'm wow. But unless you don't know it's going on like that, you don't see a possibility for yourself.
Yeah.
So we have to show that we want our young people to look at all these great examples of black people that just went to school or just worked hard at their craft and they became successful. But what they didn't do was sit around and talk about how powerful white people were.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
Toya,
they
what
were
the T talk?
determined to be successful.
Exactly. Toya, what the T talk to? We 10:02. We're ready to get out of here. What's on your heart?
Yes, yeah, I second that. I love Michelle, man. She's the epitome of a black woman, man. I'm working on that way, man. She's awesome. She's fantastic. But no, for real, man. Raheem, great show, man. Great conversation. Y'all are just too much over there. Y'all know y'all can't handle Michelle, even if you got 2 chairs to sit on your tippy toes, honey. She is too much woman for all y'all put together, hold up in one.
Never.
Oh,
I'm gonna tell you something. If I want to marry man, I'll tell you, I step over top, or I die trying, Something gonna happen. Something gonna happen here. I'm gonna handle it. I'm gonna die trying. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna go ahead and say it to you. I'm gonna say it to you.
Raheem, if you eating out tonight, Raheem, if you're eating out tonight, keep it up. You're gonna be eating out because you gotta eat dinner. But no, great show, y'all. I love y'all.
Love you as well, sis.
And y'all already know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Rico, talk to me about Michelle, man. Come on, man. Help me out. Help me understand.
Man, she a tight piece of work, man. I seen a picture of her back in the day when her and Obama was struggling. They was getting their start, man, and she had her little shoes off. And man, man, I see a woman got them pretty feet, man. That's the start of it. I ain't gonna suck no toe, but at the same time, I like some pretty feet. You know what I'm saying? But then you know that she got on up, man, and I started seeing that sister had that junk in the trunk. Oh, I love Michelle, man.
Calm down, Rico.
I love Michelle, man. Ain't nothing like that. We ain't never seen nothing like that in the White House.
You like my brother about toes. Shout out to my brother who be listening to our show. Cue ball.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. I definitely appreciate it. I'm gonna ask y'all a question. We're gonna get out of here on this note right here. Y'all gotta make a decision. Y'all gotta make a decision. Michelle Obama,
here we go.
Serena Williams.
What
Look at Rico.
What decision we need to make, Raheem?
You gotta pick one. You only they ain't gonna let you be no dog and try to get both of them. You gotta pick one.
Man, I'm gonna say you, Raheem, man. You might be in trouble when you get home. You keep on with this though, right?
Yeah. He already at home.
He ain't got far to go. Raheem. You're digging a hole now.
You ain't got that far to go. You already at the house. You ain't got that far to go.
Right across the hallway, right there. Right across the hallway. I'm going to bed too.
Don't even go over there right now.
No, not right now. But anybody here? If I leave, y'all know how I say that thing. If I leave, and old lady here when I get here, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take my hat off and throw it in the house. If she don't throw it, I'm good. Sit down.
Well, if we don't see him Monday, we know what happened.
Yeah, I come in Monday like this here, and when I halfway closed, man. So look at here. Y'all call
looking like Popeye. We know something that happened. You coming in looking like Popeye.
Exactly like that.
You know what? I'm gonna answer that question for you though. I go with Michelle for the long run, and Serena just for the just the short term.
Lord have mercy, Jesus. I got 2 hands. That's it.
Leave it
I got 2 hands. I tell you what though, if you did not get a chance to hear this show in its entirety, you can log on to www.tkmmediagroup.com. I wish I would choose between 2 beautiful women. I wish I would. I need them both.
I can barely handle the one I got.
Let's Toya with a T prayers out, Toya.
All right. Yes, thank you, Lord, for another moment. Thanks, Father. You know what, Lord? We want to thank you right now for touching our minds and our hearts, to give us these conversations, these everyday conversations. They don't include our art, nothing like that. These are clear conversations that we can understand, Lord. And we see you moving through it, and we thank you. We want you to keep us protected. We want you to keep us covered. And we definitely want to keep us in your will, Lord. Continue to bless us, honor us, and guide us, and use us to do what is your will. And we thank you, and we give you all the honor, mercy, and praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. But it's been a great broadcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us. More than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and the associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now 10:07. 10:07, you're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple, I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. That we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. You'll have a great day. Get an opportunity to give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Love you, and take care of each other.